හෙලෝ අයිබෝන් සුපෝදෑස්නක් මම හසිරි පෙරේරා ඉගෙන ගන්න වැඩ කරන්න ජය ලබන්න කියන ආදර්ශ පාඨය ඔස්සේ සමාජ මාධ්‍ය සජීවී විකාශය තුළයි ඔබ රැඳී සිටින්නේ. ඉතින් අදත් මම ඔබට ඉතා හොඳ ඉන්ෆර්මේෂන් වගේක් අරන් එනවා ඒ යුනිවර්සිටිස් ගැන සහ ඔබ දන්නවා මම හැමදාම සජීවීව සමාජ මාධ්‍ය ඔස්සේ ඔබට අවශ්‍ය සියලුම උපදෙස් ලබා දෙනවා. කොහොමද පිටරට අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා යොමු වෙන්නේ? ඒට අවශ්‍ය ඩොකියුමන්ට්ස් මොනවාද? ඒ වගේම බොහොමයක් දරුවන්ට මම පිටරට අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා අවස්ථා ලබා දීලා තිනවා. ඉතින් රැඳී සිටින්න මම ආසිරි පෙරේරා asiriperera.com දැන් වෙලාව උදෑසන 10යි. ඉතින් රැඳී සිටින මාත් එක්ක අද මම කතා කරන්න යන්නේ කොහොමද UK වලට ඇප්ලයි කරන්නේ? ඒ වගේම ඕස්ට්‍රේලියා ගැන කතා කරන්න යනවා. ඕස්ට්‍රේලියා යුනිවර්සිටිස් වලට ඇප්ලයි කරන්නේ කොහොමද? ඒ වගේම ඔබ එලිජිබල්ද? කීයක් විතර යනවද? කොහොමද අපි හොඳ රටක් තෝරගන්නේ අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා, උසස් අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා? ඒ වගේම යුනිවර්සිටි එකක් තෝරගන්නේ කොහොමද? මොන වගේ ඩොකියුමන්ට්ස්ද අවශ්‍ය? ඉතින් රැඳී සිටින්න සියලුම විස්තර අද මම ලබා දෙනවා. ඉතින් හැමදාම වගේ උදෑසන මම සජීවීව ඔබ හා සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා. ඉතින් ඔබට වැඩි විස්තර දැනගන්න පුළුවන් තිරේ දිස්වන නම්බර්ස් වලට කතා කරොත්. රැඳී සිටින්න මාත් එක්ක මම අද කතා කරන්න යන්නේ UK education සහ Australia education ගැන. ඉතින් උසස් අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා පිටරට යන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන දුවා දරුවන්ට අවශ්‍ය විස්තර ලබා දෙන්න මම හැමදාම උදේ 10ට ලංකාවේ වෙලාවෙන් එක දවසකුත් UK වෙලාවෙන් තව දවසකුත් හැමදාම සජීවීව ඔබ හා සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා. මාව මට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන් 0777යි 798989 කියන දුරකථන අංක ඔස්සේ. ඒ වගේම අපිව විසිට් කරන්න පුළුවන් BML ශ්‍රී ලංකා අංක 163 නව නුවර පාර මාලබේ කියන ඇඩ්‍රස් එකට ආවොත් අපිට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්, වැඩි විස්තර දැනගන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් UK, USA, කැනඩා, ඕස්ට්‍රේලියා, නිව්සීලන්ත, ඩුබායි ඒ වගේම යුරෝපීය රටවල් වලට වැඩිදුර අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා කොහොමද පෙළඹෙන්නේ? ඒ වගේම ඇප්ලයි කරන්නේ කොහොමද? වීසා එකක් ගන්නේ කොහොමද? ඒ වගේම ඔබට තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න හැම දෙයකටම උත්තර ලබා දෙන්න මමත් මගේ කාර්ය මණ්ඩලයත් සැදී පැහැදී සිටිනවා. ඉතින් හැමෝම සුබෝදෑසනක්. ඉතින් වැඩි විස්තර දැනගන්න රැඳී සිටින්න. ඒ වගේම අපේ දුරකථන අංක විවෘතයි. ඔබට යම් කිසි විදිහට අවශ්‍ය නම් ඉන්ෆර්මේෂන් දැනගන්න ඔබ එලිජිබල්ද, කීයක් විතර යනවද, කොයි වගේ කන්ට්‍රීස් වලටද දැන් ඇප්ලයි කරන්න පුළුවන්, මොන ඉන්ටේක් එකද දැන් ඕපන් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ, ඒ වගේ විස්තර ගොඩාක් දැනගන්න. ඉතින් පිටරට අධ්‍යාපනයට පිටරට යනවා කියන්නේ ඉතින් ලොකු ඩිසිෂන් එකක්. ලොකු තීරණයක්. ඉතින් ඒ තීරණය ගන්න අවශ්‍ය උපදෙස් සහ ඒකට දැන් යුනිවර්සිටිස් ගැන දැනගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ, කන්ට්‍රීස් ගැන දැනගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ, ප්‍රොසෙස් එක ගැන දැනගෙන ඉන්න ඕනේ. ඉතින් එහෙම වුණොත් තමයි ඔබට ඔබගේ දරුවාව පිටරට යවන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙමින් ඉන්නවා නම් ඒක ගොඩක් පහසු වෙනවා ඔබ ඒ පිළිබඳ දැනගෙන හිටියොත්. ඉතින් හැමදාම උදේ මම සජීවීව ඔබ හා සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා සමාජ මාධ්‍ය ඔස්සේ Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube හැම නාලිකාවකින්ම මම සජීවීව දැන් ඔබ හා සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා. ඉතින් කතා කරන්නේ 0777යි 798989 කියන දුරකථන අංකයට මේ දවස්වලත් ගොඩාක් දරුවන්ට ඔෆර් ලෙටර්ස් ගන්නවා. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ප්‍රශ්න වලට උත්තර හොයනවා. එතකොට සමහර අය වීසා වලට ඇප්ලයි කරන්න සූදානමින් ඉන්නවා. ඒ වගේ ඉතින් අපේ කාර්ය මණ්ඩලයත් ඉතාම කාර්යබහුලයි. ඉතින් අපි තවත් දරුවන්ට දහසකුත් දරුවන්ට අපි පිටරට අධ්‍යාපන අවස්ථා ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් එංගලන්තයේ සහ ලංකාවේ අපේ ආයතන පිහිටා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒ ආයතන තුලින් අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා ගොඩාක් දරුවන්ට පහසුවෙන් පිටරට අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා යොමු වීම ඔබගේ කැමැත්ත නම් ඔබ බලාගෙන ඉන්නවා ඔබ දෙමාපියෙක් නම් ඔබගේ දරුවව පිටරට යවන්න බලාගෙන ඉන්නවා නම් ඒ ගැන විස්තර දැනගන්න ඕනි නම් අපිට පුළුවන් ඔබට උදව් කරන්න. අපි කිසිදු මුදලක් අය කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඔබට උපදෙස් ලබා දෙනවාට. ඉතින් කතා කරන්න මේ හොට්ලයින්ස් වලට UK නම්බර එකක් තියෙනවා. ලංකාවේ නම්බර එකක් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් අපිට පුළුවන් උදව් කරන්න. අපි දහසකුත් දරුවන්ට උදව් කරලා තිනවා දැනටමත්. ඉතින් තවත් දරුවන්ට රටවල් 14ක ලංකාව විතරක් නෙමෙයි රටවල් 14ක දරුවන්ට පිටරට අධ්‍යාපන අවස්ථා අපි ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් කතා කරන්න මමත් මගේ කාර්ය මණ්ඩලයත් ඉතාම ආදරෙන් රැඳී සිටිනවා. අංක 163න් 4 නව නුවර පාර මාලබේ. ඉතින් ඔවුන් දන්නවා මම දැන් කාලයක් තිස්සේ සජීවීව ඔබ හා සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා සෝෂල් මීඩියා ඔස්සේ. ඉතින් මම ගැන කතා කරොත් ඉස්සර වෙලාම ඉතින් ගොඩක් දරුවන්ට අපි අධ්‍යාපන අවස්ථා ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා. මේ වගේම ඒ අධ්‍යාපන අවස්ථා ලබා දෙන්න තරම් සුදුසුකම් සහ ඊට උපදෙස් ලබා දෙන්න තරම් සුදුසුකම් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් මම ගැන වැඩි විස්තර දැනගන්න පුළුවන් asiriperera.com කියන වෙබ් අඩවිය ඔස්සේ. ඉතින් මමත් ඉගෙන ගන්න පිටරට අධ්‍යාපනය උසස් අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා පිටරට ආපු කෙනෙක්. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා මට ඔයගලන්ට දෙන්න පුළුවන් හොඳම උපදෙස් සහ සහයෝගය දෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් වැඩි විස්තර දැනගන්න පුළුවන් asiriperera.com කියන වෙබ් අඩවිය ඔස්සේ. බොහොමයක් දරුවන්ට ආදරෙන් අපි අවස්ථා ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් රැඳී සිටින්න මම අද කතා කරන්න යනවා UK යුනිවර්සිටි එකකට ඇප්ලයි කරන්න කොහොමද? ඒ වගේම ඇයි UK යුනිවර්සිටිස් වැදගත් වෙන්නේ? සහ අපි ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ යුනිවර්සිටිස් ගැන කතා කරනවා. ඉතින් ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවට යන්න කැමති කට්ටිය ඒ උපදෙස් ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන් අපෙන්. ඒ වගේම UK ඉන්න බලාපොරොත්තුෙන් ඉන්න අය හරි UK ඇවිල්ලා ඉන්න අය හරි ඒ හැමෝටම උපදෙස් දෙන්න ඒ වගේම අවස්ථා ලබා දෙන්න මමත් මගේ කාර්ය මණ්ඩලයත් දැනටම සූදානම් වෙලා ඉන්නවා. සහ අපි බොහොමයක් ඇප්ලිකේෂන්ස් මේ දවස්වල ප්‍රොසෙස් කරන ගමන් ඉන්නේ. ඉතින් ඔබට අවශ්‍ය නම් කිසිදු වියදමකින් තොරව විශ්වාසයෙන් සහ ඔබට වැදගත් වෙන්නේ පළපුරුද්ද. දැන් කවුරු හරි අපි පිටරට යනවා නම් ඒක ලොකු ඩිසිෂන් එකක්. ඉතින් ඒ ඩිසිෂන් එක ගන්න පළපුරුද්ද තියෙන විශ්වාසය තියෙන ඒ වගේ මේ පිළිබඳ උපදෙස් ලබා දෙන්න තරම් එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් එකක් ඒ වගේම එඩියුකේෂන් එකක් තියෙන කෙනෙක් විදිහට ඔබට අපිව සම්බන්ධ කරගන්න පුළුවන්. ඔබ මේ රැඳී සිටින්නේ ආසිරි පෙරේරා ලයිව් සෝෂල් මීඩියා සමගයි. ඉතින් රැඳී සිටින්න මම වැඩිදුර විස්තර ඔබ වෙත ගෙන එනවා. ඒ වගේම අද කතා කරනවා අපි ඕස්ට්‍රේලියා යුනිවර්සිටිස් ගැන, ඒ වගේම UK යුනිවර්සිටිස් ගැන කොහොමද ඇප්ලයි කරන්නේ, ඇයි අපි මේ රටවල් තෝරගන්න ඕනේ, ඒ වගේම අපි වෙනත් රටවල් එක යුනිවර්සිටිස් 1000කට වඩා අපි වැඩ කරනවා. ඉතින් ඔබට මොන රටකට යන්න වුණත් ස්ටුඩන්ට් වීසා එකකින් කතා කරන්න පුළුවන් 0777යි 798989. එහෙම නැත්නම් අපි විසිට් කරන්න පුළුවන් අංක 163න් 4 නව නුවර පාර මාලබේ BML ශ්‍රී ලංකා තමයි අපේ ආයතනය. ඉතින් වැඩි විස්තර දැනගන්න රැඳී සිටින්න.
History of the UK. A brief history. The countries that make up what we know now as the United Kingdom each have a rich and complex history dating back in historical records for hundreds of years. The history of the UK is not a single story, but a tapestry of stories of multiple peoples and cultures developing together over time. Human history in the region dates back millennia, consisting primarily of various Celtic peoples by the end of the prehistoric period. In 1707, the Kingdom of England, including Wales, and the Kingdom of Scotland formed the Kingdom of Great Britain. In 1801, Great Britain, with the Kingdom of Ireland, formed a union to create the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. In 1922, part of Ireland seceded, leaving the present-day UK. Today, residents of the UK identify themselves in a variety of ways, including British, English, Scottish, Welsh, Northern Irish, or Irish. However, the official term for a citizen of the UK is British citizen. This brief timeline represents a few of the many important events that shaped the culture and society of the UK we know today. 1096 to 1209. University of Oxford and University of Cambridge are founded. 1689, the Bill of Rights became part of the British Constitution. 1801, the Act of Union officially creates the United Kingdom, England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. 1837 to 1901, Queen Victoria reign begins. The Victorian period encompassed vast changes across Britain, including the Industrial Revolution, and many scientific and cultural discoveries. 1918, the Education Act raised the compulsory schooling age to 14 and abolished all fees in state elementary schools. 1928, the Equal Franchise Act gives women over the age of 21 the right to vote in Britain. 1948, post-war immigration from the Commonwealth begins, representing the beginning of significant immigration to Britain. 1963, new universities open and students get state support. 1965, a comprehensive education system is initiated. More inclusive and comprehensive schools were established. This was the first step toward a comprehensive education system. 1973, Britain joins the European Economic Community, which later became the European Union, EU. 1998, the Human Rights Act is incorporated in Britain, enshrining the rights in the European Convention on Human Rights into domestic law. 2016, the UK votes to leave the EU, an initiative known as Brexit and made official in 2020. A history of migration and human rights. People have been migrating and moving to the UK for centuries. In ancient times, people came from mainland Europe during the Roman Empire and during various invasions. Irish people have also settled in the UK because the island of Great Britain is so close to Ireland. Many Jewish people came to the UK to escape religious persecution on the continent from the late 19th century through the 1930s and World War II. Large numbers of European refugees also came to the UK during the 1940s after World War II. There were large numbers of immigrants who came from the West Indies and South Asia throughout the 1950s and 1960s. According to the 2011 UK government census, about one-third of immigrants come from the Middle East and Asia. One-third come from other European countries. One-fifth are from African countries, and the remaining are from other regions of the world. The majority of the foreign-born population lives in urban areas, with more than half of them residing in Greater London. European Convention. The European Convention on Human Rights, ECHR, protects the human rights of people in the 47 countries that belong to the Council of Europe. The Council of Europe was founded after World War II to protect human rights, rule of law, and to promote democracy. The Council is different from the EU and was founded with a different purpose. It's also much larger, with 47 members versus the EU's 28 members. The Council was set up to promote democracy and protect human rights, whereas the EU was originally set up to promote more specific joint economic and political interests of its members. Despite Brexit, the UK's membership on the Council of Europe remains unchanged. Human Rights Act. The Human Rights Act 1998 outlines the rights and freedoms that everyone in the UK is entitled to. It combines the rights set out in ECHR with domestic British law. The Act was designed to do three things. 1. Allow you to seek justice in a British court. 2. Ensure public bodies respect your rights. Police, courts, hospitals, publicly funded schools, and local authorities. 3. Ensure new laws are compatible with ECHR rights. A history of UK education. In the UK, education is free and compulsory for children ages 5 to 18 and has been since the 1880s. The UK education system is divided into four main areas by age and year in school. Primary school, ages 5 to 11. Secondary school, ages 11 to 16. Further education, ages 16 to 18. Higher education, ages 18 plus. Between the two world wars, students who completed primary school took exams called the 11 plus, which determined where they'd go to secondary school. Students who scored high on their final exams were admitted to grammar schools and would most likely go on to university. Finally, there were students that attended modern schools and were taught a higher level of elementary education. After World War II, comprehensive schools emerged. The 11 plus exams have been phased out in many parts of the UK but remain in use in some areas. There are now state schools and grammar schools which are government funded and private schools at the secondary level. At the end of secondary school, year 11, students write their General Certificate of Secondary Education, GCSE exams. After secondary school, students can move on to further education or other options such as an apprenticeship. Students are able to leave school in England if they turn 16 years old by the end of summer of that school year, but they're required to fulfill one of the following until they turn 18 years old. Stay in full-time education, for example, college. Begin an apprenticeship. Spend 20 hours or more a week working or volunteering while in part-time studies or training. Students are also able to leave school in Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland when they turn 16 years old, but each country has their own set dates and times of year students can officially leave school. It's best to refer to the UK government website for more information. The UK is home to some of the most recognized and prestigious universities and colleges in the world, which makes it a top choice for international students. The University of Oxford is the oldest English-speaking university. There's evidence teaching took place at Oxford as early as 1096. UK universities have also been at the forefront of technology and innovation. Tony Wren, who studied at the University of Leeds, designed the world's first computerized train schedule in 1963. And Tim Berners-Lee, a computer scientist who studied at the University of Oxford, is credited with inventing the World Wide Web in 1989. In 2018 to 2019, there were 2.3 million students studying at higher education institutions across the UK, both domestic and international. These institutions grant certificates, bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, and doctoral PhD degrees. Higher education in the UK is regulated by the British government to maintain a high standard of excellence. We'll learn more about the current UK education system later in the course.
right. ඉතින් ඒ විස්තරේ UK education system එක කොහොමද develop වුණේ ඒ වගේම history of the UK. ඉතින් UK ගැන දැනගන්න දැන් ගොඩක් අය පිටරට අධ්‍යාපනයට යනවා නම් ඒ රටවල් ගැන දැනගන්න එක හොඳයි. මොකද එතකොට ඔබට ඒ এডুকেෂන් සිස්ටම් එක කොහොමද වැඩ කරන්නේ, ඒ වගේම නීතිය, ඒ රටවල් වල තියෙන නීතිය ගැන අවබෝධයකින් යන එක හොඳයි. ඉතින් ඒ කතා කරේ යුරෝපියන් කන්වෙන්ෂන් එක ගැන. ඒ කියන්නේ එක එක රූල්ස් ගැන, ඒ වගේම හියුමන් රයිට්ස් ඇක්ට් එක ගැන. ඉතින් UK වගේ රටකට එනකොට ඒ රටවල් වල තියෙන නීති පද්ධති ගැන දැනගෙන සිටීම ගොඩක් හොඳයි. මොකද එතකොට ඔබට ඒ නීති අනුකූලව වැඩ කරගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් හිස්ටරි UK এডুকেෂන් හිස්ටරි එක ගත්තොත් UK এডুকেෂන් එක දරුවන්ට අවුරුදු 5 සිට අවුරුදු 18 වෙනකන් දරුවන්ට ෆ්‍රී এডুকেෂන් එකක් තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් ඔබගේ ෆැමිලි එකත් එක්ක UK ඉන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා නම් දරුවන්ගේ අධ්‍යාපනය නොමිලේ ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් ඒ විස්තරේ UK এডুকেෂන් සිස්ටම් එක ගැන. ඉතින් අපි බලමු ඊළඟට ඊළඟට මොනවද අපිට දැනගන්න තියෙන්නේ කියලා.
Hi, I'm Jane, and today we're talking about why students from around the world want to study in the UK. The UK is the second most popular destination for international students, just behind the US. It's known for top-ranked universities and colleges, and world-class academic and research excellence. Students who study in the UK get the knowledge, skills, and experience employers look for, as well as a vibrant student lifestyle in bustling multicultural cities and historic destinations across the region. Degrees and qualifications from UK universities are widely recognized and respected by employers and academics around the world. The UK is also ranked second in the world for science and research. This means students have the opportunity to work with excellent teachers and have access to state-of-the-art technology and research facilities. Higher education institutions across the UK are regulated by the government, so students can be assured they're getting the best education no matter which school they attend. The UK can be an affordable choice for international students, especially when they choose programs with shorter study durations. Most undergraduate degree programs are 3 years instead of 4, so students only have to pay for 3 years of tuition and living expenses. Master's programs are also shorter and are only 1 or 2 years. International student tuition fees vary depending on school and program. Arts and social science courses tend to have lower tuition fees than science-based courses like engineering and medicine. Deciding where to stay while you study may depend on whether or not the university has residence halls, what city you're in, and what your monthly budget is. Many universities have halls of residence. Living in halls is a great way to meet new friends and adjust to campus life. Halls are large buildings divided into separate flats or rooms. Students either have a single room or share with a roommate. Some universities also have self-catered halls. They're similar to standard halls, except there's also a communal kitchen available to residents. This lets students have the freedom to cook on their own schedule if they want to. People in the UK enjoy a high quality of life. The UK ranks high in personal security, environmental quality, civic engagement, health, jobs and earnings, education, and overall happiness and well-being. It's also a safe place to live. Here are some recent stats. The UK is an extraordinarily multicultural society. For starters, the countries that make up the UK all have their own cultures, languages, and traditions. There are also people from all over the world of different races, religions, and ethnicities. Because the UK accepts people from different cultures, students can feel comfortable and confident knowing they'll be welcomed. The UK offers many employment opportunities for eligible international students who want to work part-time while they're studying. Students may find a job on campus or off campus. International students can typically work up to 20 hours per week during the school terms and full-time hours during school holidays. Students must be at least 16 years old and have a valid student visa. Each student's visa paperwork will outline any other restrictions that may apply to their eligibility for working while they study. Many international students take advantage of this option to help pay their tuition, gain work experience, or just have some extra money to travel around Europe while they're in the UK.
Why study in the UK? Students come from all over the world to study in the UK. The UK is the second most popular destination for international students behind the US. Over 600,000 international students choose to study in the UK every year. The UK is known for its top-ranked universities and colleges, academic and research excellence, and having a broad range of academic courses to choose from. Students who study in the UK will get the knowledge, skills, and experience employers look for while enjoying a vibrant student lifestyle. International recognition. Degrees and qualifications from UK universities are widely recognized and respected by employers and academics around the world. 4 UK universities, including Oxford and Cambridge, are ranked in the top 10 of the QS World University Rankings 2023. Higher education institutions across the UK are regulated by the government, so students can be sure they're getting the best education no matter what school they attend. Each UK country has their own government who uphold high standards of higher education. England, local government; Wales, Welsh government; Scotland, Scottish government; and Northern Ireland executive. Higher education institutions also have their own regulating bodies who often counsel with other groups, including the government, to ensure high-quality education within each country and across the UK. UK universities and colleges also have a reputation for world-class research. Students have the opportunity to work with excellent teachers and have access to state-of-the-art technology and research facilities. Affordable education. The UK is one of the most affordable countries for international students to pursue a quality education abroad. Most undergraduate degree programs are 3 years instead of 4, so students only have to pay for 3 years of tuition and living expenses. Master's courses are also shorter, only taking 1 or 2 years. International student tuition fees vary depending on the school and course. Tuition fees can range from £10,000 to £38,000 per year. Arts and social science courses tend to have lower tuition fees than science-based courses like engineering and medicine. Unique accommodation options. Many universities have halls of residence. Living in halls is a great way to meet new friends and adjust to campus life. Halls are large buildings divided into separate flats or rooms. Students either have a single room or share with a roommate. Rooms are furnished with basic furniture, including a bed, desk, and chair. Bathrooms and kitchens are often shared, and students are usually required to purchase food at the campus canteen or provide their own food options. Some universities also have self-catered halls. They are similar to standard halls, except there's also a communal kitchen available to residents. This allows students the freedom to cook their own food on their own schedule if they want to. But in second and third year, students may want to move into a house or flat that isn't associated with the school. Living in a house is generally more expensive than halls, but lots of students live with their friends and split costs such as rent, internet, and utilities. This option lets students choose where they live, who they live with, and the type of place they live in. Multiculturalism. The UK is an extraordinarily multicultural society. The countries that make up the UK, England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, all have their own cultures, languages, and traditions. There are also people from all over the world of different races, religions, and ethnicities. Minorities make up about 15% of the population. Students can feel comfortable and confident knowing they'll be welcomed because the UK accepts people from different cultures. Work during study. The UK offers many employment opportunities for eligible international students who want to work part-time while they are studying. Students may find a job on or off campus. International students can typically work up to 20 hours per week during school terms and full-time hours, 35+ hours per week, during school holidays. Students don't usually need an additional work permit, but students must be at least 16 years old and have a valid student visa. Each student's visa paperwork will outline any other restrictions that may apply to their eligibility for working while they study. High quality of life. People in the UK enjoy a high quality of life. According to the OECD Better Life Index, the UK ranks above average in personal security, environmental quality, civic engagement, health, jobs and earnings, income, education, and overall subjective happiness and well-being. The UK is also a safe place to live. The economy and government are stable. The climate is temperate, and there are strict gun control laws. 78% of people say they feel safe walking alone at night, and 93% of people say they know someone they could rely on in a time of need.
හරි. ඉතින් ඒ විස්තරේ ඇයි UK එඩියුකේෂන් සඳහා ඔබ ඔබේ දරුවාව යොමු කළ යුත්තේ කියන අ, අ, හේතු තමයි මේ දැක්වේ. ඉතින් ඉන්ටර්නැෂනල් රෙකග්නිෂන් එකක් තියෙනවා UK එඩියුකේෂන් එක. ඒ කියන්නේ UK උසස් අධ්‍යාපනය ගවර්න්මන්ට් රෙගියුලේටඩ්. ඒ හින්දා ඔබගේ දරුවාට ඉතාම ගුණාත්මක භාවයෙන් වැඩි සහ වර්ල්ඩ් රෙකග්නයිස් ලෝකයේ ප්‍රසිද්ධ ප්‍රචලිත ඒ වගේම හොඳ අධ්‍යාපනයක් ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන් කියන විස්තරය තමයි. ඒ වගේම affordable tuition ඒ වගේම accommodation ගන්න පුළුවන් කියන යුනිවර්සිටිස් බොහොමයක් UK යුනිවර්සිටිස් වල යුනිවර්සිටි එක තුළම accommodation ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන්, නවාතැන් පහසුකම් ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන් ඔබේ දරුවාට. ඉතින් වැඩි විස්තර කතා කරන්න අපිට මේ තිරේ දිස්වන නම්බර් එකකට කෝල් එකක් දෙන්න. අපිට පුළුවන් ඔබට වැඩි විස්තර ලබා දෙන්න. ඉතින් මේ විස්තරේකට මේ නිසා මේ හේතුන් නිසා බොහොමයක් ලක්ෂ සංඛ්‍යාත දරුවන් UK වලට දැනටමත් උසස් අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා යොමු වෙනවා. ඉතින් ලක්ෂ 6කට වැඩි දරුවන් ප්‍රමාණයක් විවිධ රටවල් වල දරුවන් ප්‍රමාණයක් දැනටමත් UK එඩියුකේෂන් සඳහා යොමු වෙනවා. ඉතින් හැම අවුරුද්දෙම ඉතින් අපි දහසකුත් දරුවන්ට රටවල් 14ක අපි ඉගෙනීමේ අවස්ථා ලබා දීලා තිනවා UK වලට. ඉතින් ඔබත් ඔබේ දරුවාව UK වලට උසස් අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා යොමු කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙමින් ඉන්නවා නම් අපිට කතා කරන්න, අපිට පුළුවන් ඔබට උදව් කරන්න. ඉතින් මේ විස්තරේ ඇයි අපි UK ඉගෙන ගන්න ඉන්න ඕනේ, මොනවද යුනිවර්සිටිස් වල තියෙන රෙකග්නිෂන් එක. ඒකට යුනිවර්සිටි හැම එකම පාලනය කරන්නේ ගවර්න්මන්ට් වලින්. ඒ නිසා ඔබට හොඳ අධ්‍යාපනයක් ලබා දෙන්න පුළුවන් කියන ගැරන්ටි එක UK වලට තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම ඉගෙන ගන්න අතරේ වැඩ කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම යුනිවර්සිටි ඇකොමොඩේෂන් ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම UK quality of education quality of life එක ඉතාම ඉහළයි. ඉතින් මේ විස්තරේ අද අපි කතා කරන්නේ UK එඩියුකේෂන් එකට කොහොමද ඔබ යොමු යුත්තේ සහ ඇයි ඔබ යොමු යුත්තේ කියන කාරණා. ඉතින් ඔබට මොන හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා නම් වැඩිදුර මේ ගැන දැනගන්න අවශ්‍ය නම් අපිට කතා කරන්න. අපේ දුරකථන අංකය විවෘතයි. ඒ වගේම ඔබට අපිව සම්බන්ධ කරගන්න පුළුවන්. අපිව විසිට් කරන්න පුළුවන්. අංක 163 නවනුවර පාර මාලබේ කියන අපේ ආයතනයේ පිහිටා තියෙනවා. දරුවන් බොහොමයක්. ඒ වගේම අපි එංගලන්තයේත් අපේ ඔෆිස් එකක් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ලංකාවෙන් ආවට පස්සේ අපිට පුළුවන් එක්සත් රාජධානියේ ඔබට ස්ටුඩන්ට් ඇකොමොඩේෂන්, එයාපෝට් පිකප්, ඒ වගේම පාර්ට් ටයිම් ජොබ්ස්, ඒ හැම දෙයකටම උපදෙස් දෙන්න සහ උදව් කරන්න. මොකද අපේ ආයතනයක් එංගලන්තෙත් පිහිටා තියෙන නිසා. ඉතින් කතා කරන්න අද මම කතා කරන්නේ UK ගැන. ඒ වගේම ඊට පස්සේ මම ඕස්ට්‍රේලියා එඩියුකේෂන් එක ගැනත් කතා කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙමින් ඉන්න. රැඳී සිටින්න ඔබ මේ රැඳී සිටින්නේ ආසිරි පෙරේරා සජීවී විකාශය තුලයි. ඔබට අවශ්‍ය සියලුම උසස් අධ්‍යාපනික අවස්ථා ලබා ගැනීමට ඔබට ඔබගේ දරුවන්ට උසස් අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා යොමු වෙන්න කැමති හැමෝටම අවශ්‍ය සියලුම උපදෙස් සහ සහයෝගය නොමිලේ ලබා දෙන්න අපේ ආයතන මමත් මගේ කාර්ය මණ්ඩලයත් ඉතාමත් සැදී පැහැදී සිටිනවා. ඉතින් ඔබට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්, ඔබේ දරුවව යොමු කරන්න පුළුවන්, ඔබට විස්තර දැනගන්න පුළුවන්. ඇයි මේ රටක් හොඳ මොකද්ද හොඳ රට, මොන වගේ රටද තෝරගත යුත්තේ, ඒ වගේම ඔබට මොනවද අවශ්‍ය සුදුසුකම් මොනවද, ඒ වගේ විස්තර දැනගන්න රැඳී සිටින්න.
People and culture. The UK is made up of England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, each with their own unique culture and traditions. UK people. The UK is made up of 4 countries, each with their own unique culture and traditions: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. The UK is also a welcoming place for people and cultural traditions from around the world. Immigrant communities make up approximately 15% of the UK's population. According to the 2011 UK census, 13% of people were born outside of the UK. More than half of the ethnic minority population in the UK is from India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. People have also immigrated to the UK from Australia, the United States, and other European countries, including Russia, Greece, Estonia, Latvia, Armenia, Spain, Italy, and Turkey. UK culture. The UK is a welcoming place for people and cultural traditions from around the world. Some of these cultural traditions have significantly influenced the UK's music, film, and arts industry. What comes to mind when you think about UK culture? Perhaps you think of Shakespeare, Harry Potter, Sherlock Holmes, or James Bond. You might also think of the royal family, British invasion bands, or even Wembley Stadium. Historical sites. The UK is home to many cultural and historical sites like the British Museum, the National Gallery, the Tate Galleries, Stonehenge, Buckingham Palace, the Tower of London, and St. Paul's Cathedral. Music. Some of the most popular musicians and bands in the world are from the UK, including the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Duran Duran, The Who, Queen, Depeche Mode, The Cure, Adele, Ed Sheeran, One Direction, and many, many more. Theatre. The UK has had a flourishing theatre scene since the 16th century. London is home to West End, the second largest commercial theatre district in the world behind Broadway in New York City. Here, you can see classic and contemporary plays and musicals such as Wicked, Hamilton, Phantom of the Opera, Mamma Mia, and more. The Globe Theatre, where Shakespeare's plays were performed, was one of the first theatres in a new theatre district that became the West End. Today, there are 39 West End theatres, the oldest being the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane, which opened in 1633. The Edinburgh Fringe Festival. Edinburgh comes to life during the Edinburgh Festival Fringe, one of the world's largest arts festivals. Over 50,000 multidisciplinary artists performed at the 2018 festival and brought music, dance, spoken word, poetic performances, circus acts, comedy, and many other shows to audiences at hundreds of venues around the city. The population of Edinburgh doubles in size each August when visitors arrive for the festival. Sport. People in the UK also love sports, particularly football, soccer. The Football Association oversees all men's and women's leagues and clubs in England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Teams compete nationally and internationally. Some of the most famous clubs are Manchester United, Arsenal, and Liverpool FC. People also enjoy sports like rugby, cricket, field hockey, tennis, and badminton. Great Britain has competed in every modern Olympics since 1896 and has hosted the Games 3 times in London in 1908, 1948, and 2012. Science and technology. The UK has always been a world leader in science and technology. Scientists such as Isaac Newton, Stephen Hawking, and Charles Darwin have made a great contribution to the science and technology we know today. In fact, the UK produces the 3rd largest amount of scientific research in the world, and 91 Nobel Prize winners have been British. UK universities have state-of-the-art research and technology facilities to help the next generation of scientists expand their minds and skills and reach new scientific heights. Stephen Hawking is a renowned English physicist known for his groundbreaking theories about black holes. Sir Isaac Newton is still one of the most important and influential scientists of all time. Charles Darwin was a British biologist best known for his research and writing about the science of evolution. Cuisine. Food has a rich history in the UK. A lot of the traditional food is a blend of English, Scottish, Irish, and Welsh food. Ingredients such as fish, beef, and potatoes are often used in some of England's most popular dishes. fish and chips, Sunday roast with Yorkshire pudding, bangers and mash, shepherd's pie, and the full English breakfast. Bacon, sausages, beans, eggs, toast, mushrooms, tomatoes, and tea or coffee. Some traditional Welsh dishes include cawl, a Welsh stew with meat, vegetables, or seafood. Welsh rarebit, locally produced cheese mixed with butter and cream, or ale and poured over buttered toast. And Glamorgan sausages, a Welsh vegetarian dish with Caerphilly cheese. Leeks, breadcrumbs, and egg shaped into a sausage and fried. Scotland's most famous dish is haggis. This unique dish is often celebrated during Burns Night in January, a celebration of Scotland's famous poet Robert Burns, who was born January 25th, 1759. Haggis is made of sheep's liver, lungs, and heart minced with spices, oatmeal, suet, and onion, then stuffed inside the sheep's stomach lining. It's more delicious than it sounds. There's also been a rise in popularity for Edinburgh's fusion food scene in Scotland. Traditional dishes are being combined with other international favorites to create unique dishes such as fish and chip tacos, dessert pizza, fried chicken and sweet waffles, and chicken katsu burgers. Tea is a popular drink in the UK. Tea is usually served with milk, but people also drink it black, with lemon or sugar. Tea may also be accompanied with a light snack such as sandwiches, crumpets, scones, or biscuits that may be served around mid-morning, informally called elevenses, or in the afternoon. In Northern England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, tea may also refer to the hot, savory evening meal instead of being called dinner or supper. London is one of the most multicultural cities in the UK, so you can often find different foods from around the world at various markets and restaurants. London also has its own Chinatown in the West End near Soho and Leicester Square. Here, you can find authentic Chinese food as well as Malaysian, Japanese, Korean, Taiwanese, and Vietnamese food. If you're looking for Indian food, Shoreditch in East London is the place to go. The large Bangladeshi community there has led to many Indian restaurants and takeaways opening up all over East London.
ඉතින් ඒ විස්තරේ UK වල තියෙන UK මිනිසුන් ගැන සහ ඒ කල්චර්ස් පිළිබඳ විශේෂ ඉන්ෆර්මේෂන් ටිකක්. ඉතින් UK පොපුලේෂන් එකෙන් 15ක් විතර පිට රට වෙනත් රටවල් වලින් සංක්‍රමණය වෙච්ච සංක්‍රමණිකයන් තමයි ඉන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒෂියාවල ඉන්න, මිඩල් ඊස්ට්, ඒ වගේම ඔස්ට්‍රේලියා, යුනයිටඩ් ස්ටේට්ස්, ඒ වගේම යුරෝපයෙන් සංක්‍රමණය වෙච්ච බොහොමයක් මිනිසුන් ජීවත් වෙන විවිධත්වයෙන් යුතු සමාජයක් තමයි ඔබට දකින්න ලැබෙන්නේ. ඔබ එංගලන්තයට සහ මහා බ්‍රිතාන්‍යයට ඉගෙන ගන්න ආවොත් ඉතින් ඒ යුනික් කල්චර් එක වගේම ගොඩක් හිස්ටොරිකල් සයිට්ස්, ඒ වගේම මියුසික්, තියේටර්, ස්පෝර්ට්ස් වගේ දේවල් ලෝකේ ප්‍රචලිත ස්පෝර්ට්ස් ස්පෝර්ට්ස් සහ මියුසික් වගේ දේවල්ට ලෝක ප්‍රචලිත ස්ථානයක් තමයි මහා බ්‍රිතාන්‍ය කියලා කියන්නේ. ඉතින් ඒ විස්තරේ ඔබ දැනගන්න ඕනේ ඔබ UK වලට එන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඉතින් මේ ඉන්ෆර්මේෂන් වැදගත් වෙයි. ඒ වගේම සයන්ස් ඇන්ඩ් ටෙක්නොලොජි වලට ලෝක ප්‍රචලිත විද්‍යාඥයන් සහ ගොඩක් පරීක්ෂණ සිදුවෙන ස්ථානයක් විදිහට මහා බ්‍රිතාන්‍ය ඔබට අඳුන්වා දෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් ඔබ යුනිවර්සිටි එකකට ආවොත් ඔබ ලෝ ප්‍රචලිත පරීක්ෂණ වලට සහභාගී වෙන්න පුළුවන් අවස්ථා ලැබෙනවා. මොකද දැනටත් ගොඩාක් යුනිවර්සිටිස් වලින් ජීවිත වෙනස් කරන පරීක්ෂණ කරගෙන යනවා. ඉතින් සර් අයිසැක් නිව්ටන්, ස්ටීෆන් හොකින්ස්, චාල්ස් ඩාර්වින් වගේ ලෝ ප්‍රකට විද්‍යාඥයන් බිහි කරපු රටක් විදිහටත් නොබෙල් ප්‍රයිස් 91ක් දැනටත් ලබාගෙන තියෙන රටක් විදිහටත් මහා බ්‍රිතාන්‍ය හඳුන්වා දෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් ඒ විතරක් නෙමෙයි විවිධ කෑම වර්ගවල රස බලන්න, ඒ වගේම වෙනස් විදිහේ අත්දැකීමක් ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඔබ UK වලට ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක් විදියට ආවොත්. ඉතින් මම දහසකුත් දරුවන් රටවල් 14ක දරුවන්ට UK අධ්‍යාපන අවස්ථා ලබා දීලා තිනවා. මමත් මගේ කාර්ය මණ්ඩලයත්. ඉතින් අපිට තවත් දරුවන්ට අවස්ථා ලබා දෙන්න. ඔබ ලංකාවේ හරි වෙනත් රටක ජීවත් වෙනවා හරි ඔබ UK එන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙමින් ඉන්නවා නම් අපිට පුළුවන් ඔබට අවශ්‍ය සියලුම උපදෙස් ලබා දෙන්න. ඒ වගේම අපි කිසිදු මුදලක් අය කරන්නේ නැහැ මේ සඳහා. ඉතින් රැඳී සිටින්න. දැන් ඊළඟට අපි කතා කරන්න යන්නේ UK regions and climate එක ගැන. ඉතින් UK ඔගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා UK හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ එංගලන්තය, ස්කොට්ලන්තය, වේල්ස් සහ නොදර්න් අයර්ලන්ඩ් කියන රටවල් හතරෙන්. UK වීසා එකක් ගත්තොත් මේ රටවල් හතරටම ඔබට සංචාරය කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ රටවල් වල තියෙන විශේෂත්වයන්, විවිධත්වයන් අගය කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම ඔබට ඒ අත්දැකීම් ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් මහා බ්‍රිතාන්‍යයට ඔබ සහ එක්සත් රාජධානියට ඔබ වැඩිදුර අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා යොමු වෙනවා නම් කෝල් එකක් දෙන්න. අපිට පුළුවන් ඔබට සියලුම උපදෙස් ලබා දෙන්න. ඒ වගේම ඔබට හොඳ යුනිවර්සිටි එකක් තෝරගන්න, යුනිවර්සිටි එකට ඇප්ලයි කරලා ඔෆර් එකක් ඉක්මනට ලබා දෙන්න. ඊට පස්සේ කෑස් ලෙටර් එක ගන්න, ඊට පස්සේ වීසා එකට ඇප්ලයි කරන්න. හැම දෙයක්ම අපිට ඔබට නොමිලේ ලබා දෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් රැඳී සිටින්න. ආසිරි පෙරේරා ඉගෙන ගන්න, වැඩ කරන්න, ජය ලබන්න කියන ආදර්ශ පාඨය ඔස්සේ බොහොමයක් දරුවන්ට, ලෝකයේ බොහොමයක් දරුවන්ට අධ්‍යාපනික අවස්ථා ලබා දෙන්න මමත් මගේ කාර්ය මණ්ඩලයත් යොසුලුව කටයුතු කරනවා. ඉතින් වැඩි විස්තර සඳහා රැඳී සිටින්න.
UK regions and climate. Location. The UK is located in the Northern Hemisphere and is part of the British Isles. The UK consists of England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. The English Channel separates the UK from mainland Europe and takes up an area of 242,900 square kilometers, a little less than half the size of Spain. The UK population is about 67.4 million, and London is the capital and largest city. Educational opportunities by region. Scotland. Scotland is the northernmost part of the UK. In Scotland, you can find bustling cities like Glasgow and Edinburgh, as well as ancient castles, beautiful mountain landscapes, and untouched beaches. The Highlands are considered one of the most beautiful and romantic regions of Scotland, with its stunning nature and majestic mountain range. There's also the famous deep, freshwater loch, known as Loch Ness, where the famous sightings of Nessie, the mythical legend of a large water monster, has been part of Scottish folklore since 1933. Scotland may be a small country, but it has a big impact on science and technology and was home to innovators such as Alexander Graham Bell, invented the telephone, James Watt invented the steam engine, and John McAdam, civil engineer and inventor of macadamization, an effective and economical way of building roads. Most English literature students are also familiar with Robert Burns, Muriel Spark, and Thomas Carlyle's work. Since the 1980s, Scotland's economy has benefited from the North Sea petroleum and natural gas industries, as well as the emerging high-tech and other economic sectors. Furthermore, agriculture, forestry, and fishing still play an important role and provide jobs for many people who live in the Highlands. Approximately 2/3 of the total UK fish and shellfish catch is handled by Scottish ports. There are 19 universities in Scotland that welcome students from all around the world. They are primarily located in the larger cities like Edinburgh and Glasgow. Some universities have a broad range of courses, while others are more specialized. For example, Abertay University in Dundee is a major hub in the video game industry. The University of Edinburgh, one of Scotland's 4 historic universities, is known for having one of the best medical schools in the world. Researchers at the University of Edinburgh have contributed major medical breakthroughs, including the invention of the hypodermic syringe, finding a cure for scurvy, developing IV therapy, and development of the hepatitis B vaccine. Northern Ireland. In Northern Ireland, you'll find the most magical landscapes. Here, you can tour the Game of Thrones filming sites, drive along the coast to the Giant's Causeway, hit the pubs in Belfast and Derry, or play golf on a world-class golf course. The capital city of Belfast offers a unique blend of modern and traditional life in Northern Ireland. Northern Irish life and culture is significantly impacted by its separation from the Republic of Ireland in the 1920s. Ulster Protestants or Unionists had a strong base in Northern Ireland and wanted to remain with the UK, while Irish Catholics or Nationalists wanted to separate and create the Republic of Ireland. Either way, most people across Northern Ireland enjoy activities like Hollywood movies, football, sports, and popular music. Many people also celebrate holidays such as St. Patrick's Day, Easter, and Halloween. Traditional Irish culture is preserved through institutions like Irish language, Gaelic schools, and the Gaelic Games. The Gaelic Games involve traditional sports, including hurling, handball, and Gaelic football. Primary and secondary schools are either Catholic or Protestant, but educational policies are similar to other UK countries. Northern Ireland is home to two universities, Queen's University Belfast and the University of Ulster, which has campuses in Coleraine, Jordanstown, Derry, and Belfast. Wales. Just 2 hours from London, Wales is a country with snow-capped mountains, a rugged coastline, and beautiful valleys. Cardiff is the capital city of Wales and is the main commercial and financial center. Financial services, business services, government, hotels, restaurants, and trade make up more than half of Wales' GDP and almost 2/3 of the national employment. Most of these services are concentrated in Cardiff and other urban areas. Wales' Celtic roots make it unique from other UK countries. Wales has been called the land of the strong since Welsh culture is rooted in oral art forms such as spoken word poetry, written word, and vocal music. There's a large Welsh-speaking population, and children can get Welsh language instruction in primary and secondary schools. All schools have a Welsh language requirement. Wales has high-quality education at all levels from primary to higher education. The school curriculum differs from the English and Scottish school curriculum. England. England is the largest country in the United Kingdom, and it's usually the country people think of when they hear the term UK. England has everything from ancient history to modern urban culture and is home to sites like Stonehenge, Buckingham Palace, Brighton's famous Pebble Beaches, Warwick Castle, the Georgian city of Bath, the Tower of London, and more. England's history has influenced modern life, especially in the arts, government and politics, religion and education. London and the Greater London area extends through much of southeast England and is the political, economic, financial, and cultural center of England. The service sector and financial sectors are very important and provide more than 2/3 of employment in England. More than half of students in England pursue post-secondary education. Post-secondary education in England is regulated by the British government. Some of the world's oldest and most recognized universities are in England, including Oxford and Cambridge. Other popular student cities include Manchester, Liverpool, Leeds, Birmingham, Sheffield, and Bristol. UK weather and climate. The UK has a temperate climate. This means the UK usually gets cool, wet winters and warm, wet summers. And yes, it rains a lot in the UK. Extreme hot and cold temperatures are rare. Not all parts of the UK have the same climate. The mountainous part of northern England and Scotland are generally colder and wetter compared to the southeast part of the country that is drier and slightly warmer. The weather conditions can change considerably on a season-to-season and year-to-year basis. Spring, March to May. In spring, flowers start to bloom, the temperature starts to warm up, and people are happier. But spring is unpredictable. Temperatures range from 5 to 15 degrees Celsius. Yet it could be warmer or cooler depending on the year and the region. A light jacket is a good choice at this time of year. Summer, June to August. In summer, the days get longer and the temperatures get warmer. Temperatures are typically between 15 to 25 degrees Celsius, but it can be warmer, over 30 degrees Celsius. At this time of year, most people choose to wear shorts and a t-shirt. Autumn or fall, September to November. In fall, the days start getting shorter and it starts to get colder. Fall weather can be beautiful before winter arrives. Temperatures usually range from 5 to 15 degrees Celsius. People usually start pulling out their warmer clothes, jackets, and waterproof boots. Winter, December to February. In winter, days are short and temperatures are cold. UK winters are characterized by rain, fog, and sometimes snow. Snow is more likely to occur in northern England and Scotland, but it generally won't last long and won't be more than a few inches. Temperatures are typically about 0 to 7 degrees Celsius. So people wear their hats, mittens, scarves, boots, and warmer jackets.
ඉතින් ඒ විස්තරේ කොහොමද වෙද එක කොහොමද එතකොට ලොකේෂන් එක කොහොමද ඒ වගේම කොච්චර පොපියුලේෂන් එක ඉන්නවද කියන එක තමයි එක්සත් රාජධානිය. ඉතින් ඔබේ දරුවාව එක්සත් රාජධානියට එවන්න සූදානම් වෙනවා නම් දැන් අපි මයි ඉන්ටේක් එකට සහ සැප්ටැම්බර් ඉන්ටේක්ස් වලට දරුවන් බඳවා ගන්නවා විවිධ කෝසස් වලට සහ අන්ඩර් ග්‍රැජුවේට් පෝස්ට් ග්‍රැජුවේට් සහ ඩොක්ටරල් කෝසස් වලට දැනට අපි දරුවන්ව බඳවා ගන්නවා. ඉතින් ඔබ වැඩිදුර විස්තර දැනගන්න ඕන නම් කතා කරන්න අපිට පුළුවන් ඔබට උදව් කරන්න. ඉතින් UK හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ ස්කොට්ලන්තය, වේල්සය, එංගලන්තය සහ නොදර්න් අයර්ලන්ඩ් කියන රටවල් 4න්. ඉතින් ඒ රටවල් වලට ආවේනික විවිධත්වයන් තුලින් සහ ඒ රටවල් වල තියෙන අධ්‍යාපනික ක්‍රම තුලින් ඔබට ඔබේ දරුවාට ඔබේ පවුලට හොඳ අධ්‍යාපනයක් ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම ලෝක ප්‍රචලිත යුනිවර්සිටිස් බොහෝමයක් සහ ලෝක ප්‍රචලිත පරීක්ෂණ සිදුවෙන ඒ වගේම විද්‍යාඥයින් බිහි වුණු රටවල් විදිහට මේ රටවල් අඳුනන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් ඔබ වැඩිදුර විස්තර දැනගන්න ඕන නම් අපිට කතා කරන්න අපිට පුළුවන් ඔබට උදව් කරන්න. UK කියන්නේ මිලියන 68ක විතර ජනගහනයෙන් යුක්ත ප්‍රදේශයක්. ඒ වගේම ලෝකේ ගොඩාක් පරීක්ෂණ වලට සහ හොඳ නව සොයා ගැනීම වලට ප්‍රමුඛත්වයේ පුරෝගාමී වුණු රටක් තමයි එංගලන්තය, ස්කොට්ලන්තයේ තියෙන යුනිවර්සිටිස් වල විශේෂත්වයක් තියෙනවා. ඒගොල්ලන් ගොඩක් මෙඩිසින් වලට සහ ගේමින් කියන අංශවලට ගොඩක් දුරට ඒගොල්ලෝ ලෝක ප්‍රචලිත යුනිවර්සිටිස් බොහොමයක් තියෙන රටක් තමයි ස්කොට්ලන්තය. ඒ වගේම එංගලන්තයේ තමයි ඔක්ස්ෆර්ඩ් විශ්වවිද්‍යාලය, ඒ වගේම කේම්බ්‍රිජ් විශ්වවිද්‍යාලය පිහිටා තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් ඔබේ දරුවාටත් හොඳ අධ්‍යාපනයක් ලබා දෙන්න, හොඳ අනාගතයක් ලබා දෙන්න ඔබට උසස් අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා එවන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙමින් ඉන්නවා නම් අපිට කෝල් එකක් දෙන්න අපිට පුළුවන් ඔබට උදව් කරන්න. ඉතින් වෙද ගැන කතා කරොත් කාල ගුණ තත්වයන් වෙනස් වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම ඍතු 4ක් තියෙනවා. එක්සත් රාජධානිය ස්ප්‍රින්ග්, සමර්, ඕටම් and වින්ටර්. ඉතින් බොහොමයක් මේ කාලවල වල සෙල්සියස් අංශක 15ත් අතර නමුත් ගොඩාක් සීතල නෙමෙයි වෙන රටවල් වගේ ගොඩාක් සීතල ගොඩාක් හිම රටක් නෙමෙයි. නමුත් මේ ඍතු 4ම පුරාවට සාමාන්‍ය දේශගුණ කාලගුණ පවතිනවා. ඉතින් ස්ප්‍රින්ග්, සමර්, ඕටම්, වින්ටර් කියන කාලගුණ 4ම එක්සත් රාජධානියේ තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඔබට මේ ඔක්කොම අත්දැකීම් ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඔබට එන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙමින් ඉන්නවා නම් UK වලට. ඉතින් දැන් අපි කතා කරමු කොහොමද UK ගවර්න්මන්ට් එක සහ ස්ථාවරත්වය මොකක්ද කියලා. ඉතින් රැඳී සිටින්න.
Government and economy. The UK is a constitutional monarchy and parliamentary democracy. Monarchy and democracy. The UK is a constitutional monarchy and parliamentary democracy. This means that the sovereign is the head of state, but they don't have the power to make or pass legislation, and must remain neutral with respect to political matters. The Queen has a limited role in government and parliament, however, she has important ceremonial and formal roles. The Queen can assent to bills passed by Parliament, give audiences to ministers, open and close each session of Parliament, summon new parliaments, and have regular audiences with the Prime Minister where she can express her views on government matters. Parliament is responsible for running the country and creating laws. Government responsibilities. Level of government, Parliament. The government or central parliament is responsible for running the country and managing things day to day. The head of the government is the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is the leader of the political party that wins the most seats in the general election. General elections are held every 5 years in May, with some exceptions. Responsibilities include National Health Service, NHS, police and armed forces, welfare benefits like state pension, UK's energy supply, and taxes. Level of government, National Assemblies. Within the UK, national assemblies were established in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland between 1998 and 1999. These assemblies took some powers previously held by the Central Parliament. The Central Parliament still has full control over England, which doesn't have a separate regional assembly. Responsibilities in Scotland include health, housing, transport, the environment, agriculture, increasing or decreasing income tax by up to 3 percentage points. Responsibilities in Wales, urban and rural development, economic planning, health, education, transport, tourism, culture, the environment. Responsibilities in Northern Ireland, agriculture, economic development, education, health and social services, the environment. Local government. Local governments are typically restricted to one district within a region. Local governments don't have a lot of legislative powers and must act within the laws set by the Central Parliament. However, they are responsible for a range of community services. Responsibilities include highways and traffic, social services, firefighting, sanitation, housing, parks and recreation, planning, local elections, property taxes, council tax, and education. UK economy. The UK has a highly developed market-oriented economy. The UK has the 7th freest economy in the world and ranks 3rd out of 45 in Europe. It has a nominal GDP, gross domestic product, of 3.0 trillion, and it has a 1.4% annual growth rate. The UK is currently a member of the G7, the G20, the Commonwealth, the International Monetary Fund, NATO, the United Nations, and the World Bank. Finance. The UK, especially London, has traditionally been a world finance center. The financial services industry employs more than 1 million people and is experiencing rapid growth in mid-sized cities, including Edinburgh and Leeds. Financial services include banks, insurance companies, pension funds, and home mortgages, and corporate leasing. London also has more foreign banks than any other city in the world. Services. Service industries have grown remarkably and now account for 2/3 of the GDP and 3/4 of total employment. The increase in demand for privately owned goods like cars and washing machines has increased demand for repair, maintenance, and distribution services for these products. Other growing services include hotels and catering, air travel, retail, business support services, computer systems and software, advertising and market research, and finance. Trade. Trade is an important part of the UK's economy. The total value of imports and exports account for nearly half of the country's GDP. The majority of trade happens within the EU, but the United States is the UK's largest trading partner. Primary British exports include machinery, automobiles and transport equipment, electrical and electronic equipment, chemicals, and oil. Natural resources. Agriculture and natural resources only employ about 2% of the population, and these industries are small or in decline with the exception of energy. The UK has relatively large energy resources, including natural gas, coal, and oil. The discovery of oil in the North Sea helped the UK become virtually self-sufficient in oil, and they quickly began developing oil exploitation. The UK is now an oil exporter. In 2018 to 2019, there were 485,645 international students studying in the UK. Over 143,000 of them were from the EU. and 342,620 were non-EU. Total international student numbers in the UK increased by 5% between 2011 to 2012 and 2017 to 2018. Education and the UK economy. International students contribute greatly to the UK economy. In 2020 and 2021, there were 605,130 international students studying at institutions across the country. Most of these students came from outside the EU. According to a 2018 report from the UK's Migration Advisory Committee, the Department for Education estimates their export value at £17.6 billion. International students contribute directly to the local economy by spending money on tuition fees, living expenses, and having their friends and family come visit them. They also provide a vital source of income for the higher education institutions directly. Students may also opt to extend their visa to stay and work in the UK after graduation. Brexit. In 2016, Britain held a referendum to leave the European Union. The term given to this sought-after agreement is Brexit. Britain plus exit equals Brexit. After 4 years, the UK officially separated from the EU in January 2020. Brexit outlines how the UK and EU will work, live, and trade together now that the UK can set its own trade policies. Some of the key changes are as follows. No safety check and restrictions on some products being imported. Businesses that offer services such as banking, accounting, and architecture will lose their automatic right of access to EU markets. Professional qualifications, like doctors, won't be automatically recognized. UK nationals will need a visa to stay in the EU for longer than 90 days. A new UK global health insurance card. The UK will gradually get a greater share of fish from its own waters. The UK is no longer obliged to comply with data protection standards set by the EU. EU and Swiss students will have to pay international fees. Summary. In this section, you learned about why international students choose to live and study in the UK. You've gained knowledge about its people, culture, history, and economy. Here are some key points to remember. There are many reasons why students choose to study in the UK, such as flexible program options, affordable education, and earning internationally recognized qualifications, all while enjoying a high quality of life. Different countries in the UK offer different cultural experiences and educational opportunities. From the mountains in Wales to the Scottish Highlands to big city life in London, England, there's something for everyone. The UK has been shaped by its history, government, and economy, and is a strong global power where students can receive a top-tier education.
උදෑසන 11යි විනාඩි 7යි ඔබ මේ රැඳී සිටින්නේ ආසිරි පෙරේරා සෝෂල් මීඩියා ලයිව් සෙෂන් එකත් එක්ක. ඉතින් දවස ගානේ මම සෝෂල් මීඩියා වලින් ඔබ හා සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා සජීවීව ඔබට අවශ්‍ය සියලුම උපදෙස් ලබා දෙන්න. පිටරට අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා ඔබ හෝ ඔබේ දරුවා යොමු කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙමින් ඉන්නවා නම් අපිට කෝල් එකක් දෙන්න. තිරේ දිස්වන අංක විවෘතයි. ඉතින් ඔබට පුළුවන් වැඩි විස්තර දැනගන්න. දැන් අද අපි කතා කරේ UK එක්සත් රාජධානියට කොහොමද ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක් විදිහට එන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙමින් ඉන්නවා නම් මොනවද අවශ්‍ය අවශ්‍ය තීන්දුව තීරණ ගන්න අවශ්‍ය උපදෙස් තමයි අපි අද කතා කරේ. ඉතින් යුනිවර්සිටිස් හැම යුනිවර්සිටි එකක් වගේම UK වල තියෙන හැම යුනිවර්සිටි එකකටම අපිට ඔබේ දරුවාව යොමු කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් වෙනත් ඒජන්ට්ස්ලා වගේ නෙමෙයි අපිට පුළුවන් ඕනම යුනිවර්සිටි එකකට ස්කොට්ලන්තේ, වේල්ස්, ඒ වගේම ඉංග්ලන්ඩ් සහ නොර්දන් අයර්ලන්ඩ් කියන රටවල් 4 ඕනෑම යුනිවර්සිටි එකකට ඔබ ඔබේ දරුවාව යොමු කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙමින් ඉන්නවා නම් අපිට පුළුවන් ඔබට ඒ අවශ්‍ය ඔෆර් ලෙටර්ස් අරගෙන දෙන්න. ඒ වගේම අපි කිසිදු මුදලක් අය කරන්නේ නැහැ අපේ සේවාවන් සඳහා. ඒ නිසා ඔබට බය නැතුව කතා කරන්න. අපි දහසකුත් දරුවන්ට රටවල් 14ක දරුවන්ට උසස් අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා එක්සත් රාජධානියට එන්න අවස්ථා ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම බය නැතුව ඒ වැඩ ටික හරියටම කරගන්න, වීසා එක හරියටම කරගන්න, ඔෆර් ලෙටර් එක ගන්න, ඩෙඩ්ලයින්ස් පාස් මිස් කරගන්නේ නැතුව හරියට වැඩ ටික කරගන්න අවශ්‍ය නම් කෝල් එකක් දෙන්න අපිට පුළුවන් ඔබට උදව් කරන්න. ඉතින් ඒ අපි කතා කරේ එක්සත් රාජධානියට ඔබ එන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා නම් එක්සත් රාජධානියේ මොන වගේ රටක්ද, කොහොමද පොපියුලේෂන් එක, මොන වගේ අත්දැකීම්ද ඔබට ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම ඇයි ඔබ එක්සත් රාජධානියට උසස් අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා යොමු විය යුත්තේ කියන කාරණා තමයි අපි අද දැන් කතා කරේ. ඉතින් ඊළඟට මම ඔබට යුනිවර්සිටි එකක් අරන් එනවා එක්සත් රාජධානියේ. ඉතින් රැඳී සිටින්න. වැඩි විස්තර සඳහා අමතන්න 0777 798989. එහෙම නැත්නම් අපි විසිට් කරන්න පුළුවන් BML ශ්‍රී ලංකා අංක 163 නව නුවර පාර මාලඹේ.
About Edinburgh Napier University. I'm really glad that you're joining me today. My name is Alice. I'm one of the senior international officers here at Edinburgh Napier, and I'm really excited to get to do this training with you. So the first section we're going to cover is a bit about the university and why it's a fantastic place for students to study. In this training, we're going to cover, like I said, why ENU. We're also going to talk a bit about the city of Edinburgh itself and Scotland. We'll delve into some of the courses that are offered here at the university. I'll show you how to navigate our website, as well as our entry requirements, information on scholarships and bursaries, loads of information about our student support and our accommodation as well. Next up, we're going to dive more into why ENU. So why Edinburgh Napier University? Well, you might not have heard of us before, but just to give you a little background, we were founded in 1964 as a technical college and was named after John Napier, who's the inventor of logarithms. We're based in Edinburgh, which is the capital of Scotland, and is known as the country of inventors. So many things were invented here. The university itself was given university status in 1992. We have over 20,000 students from over 150 countries, and around a third of our students are international. We have 5 academic schools spread across 3 campuses in the west side of the city and over 200 programs to choose from. I've listed some of our rankings here. I won't go through everything. If you do want to know more or you have any applicants that would, please do check out our website. We have a full list. However, these are some of the ones we're really, really proud of. So we are the top university in Edinburgh for student satisfaction, and we have been now for the past 5 years in a row. We are now officially a top 500 university according to the Times Higher Education rankings, and we are the top modern university in Scotland. These are universities that were given university status in the UK after 1992. 2 key pillars at the university are employability and entrepreneurship. So we know when students are coming here, obviously their main goal is to get that degree, to get that piece of paper, but it's not all about that. It's also about providing them with the skills to be successful in their career after they have the degree. So 2 of the ways we do this, one is employability. We have our fantastic Student Futures team who are involved in every single one of our programs. They run loads of different sessions to provide students with support in applying for jobs, understanding the jobs market, providing them with those employability skills to get them ready for the world of work after they graduate. And we know that it's working, we know that it's making a difference because we have really, really high graduate employability rates, over 95%. So that's people, that's our students being in employment within 6 months of graduating. On the other side here, entrepreneurship is another really, really key factor. Like we said, Scotland's the country of inventors. We really do have a focus on making sure anyone can pursue their dreams. The business school is home to our Bright Red Triangle, which is our entrepreneurial hub. We've helped over 700 students build their startups so far. And any student at the university can access whether they're a business student or not. If they have an idea, they can go along, they can get support, they can get mentorship, and we can also even provide an address for their business at the university in order to get things up and running. Next, we're going to look at the location of Edinburgh and why it's a fantastic place to study. So why Edinburgh Napier?
right. ඉතින් මේ විස්තරේ එඩින්බර් නැපිය යුනිවර්සිටි එක ගැන. ඉතින් එඩින්බර් නැපිය යුනිවර්සිටි එක පිහිටා තියෙන ස්කොට්ලන්ඩ් වල. ඒ වගේම මේ යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ 20000කට අධික ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ලා ප්‍රමාණයක් අධ්‍යාපනය ලබනවා. ඒ වගේම ඒගොල්ලන්ට 5 academic schools, campuses 3ක් තියෙනවා. 200කට වඩා programs තියෙනවා.
University. Well, you might not have heard of us before, but just to give you a little background.
ඉතින් එඩින්බර් නැපිය යුනිවර්සිටි එකට ඔබ කැමති නම් ඇප්ලයි කරන්න අපිට කෝල් එකක් දෙන්න අපිට පුළුවන් ඔබට උදව් කරන්න.
We were founded in 1964 as a technical college and was named after John Napier, who's the inventor of logarithms. We're based in Edinburgh, which is the capital of Scotland, and is known as the country of inventors. So many things were invented here. The university itself was given university status in 1992. We have over 20,000 students from over 150 countries, and around a third of our students are international. We have 5 academic schools spread across 3 campuses in the west side of the city and over 200 programs to choose from.
ඉතින් එඩින්බරන් අපේ යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ විශේෂත්වයක් තමයි මේ යුනිවර්සිටි එක අංක 1 යුනිවර්සිටි එකක් ස්ටුඩන්ට් සැටිස්ෆැක්ෂන් පිළිබඳව. ඒ කියන්නේ ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස් ලාගේ ශිෂ්‍යයන්ගේ තියෙන ඒගොල්ලෝ හරි තෘප්තිමත් මේ යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ ඉගෙන ගන්න. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා ඒකත් ඉතාමත් වැදගත්. ඒ වගේම ලෝකේ පළවෙනි 500 අතර සිටින යුනිවර්සිටි එකක් තමයි එඩින්බරන් අපේ යුනිවර්සිටි එක. ඒ වගේම යුනිවර්සිටි එක number 1 in modern university in Scotland. ඉතින් ස්කොට්ලන්ඩ් වල එඩින්බරන් අපේ යුනිවර්සිටි එකට ඇප්ලයි කරන්න කැමති දරුවෝ ඉන්නවා නම් අපිට කතා කරන්න. අපිට පුළුවන් ඔබට උදව් කරන්න.
Edinburgh is a fantastic place to be a student, and Scotland is a really, really beautiful country to come and complete your studies. Doesn't always get shouted about as much. When people think of the UK, quite often they think of England, but it's actually 4 separate countries. You can see from the map here, the United Kingdom is made up of England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland. So we're that section up at the top there. Scotland does have a really kind of distinct culture. There's around 5.5 million people here in Scotland, but we seem to make ourselves really well known. No matter where I am in the world, you know, everyone knows Scotland, has heard something about it, generally knows things about, you know, the stereotypical things of haggis, kilts, bagpipes, all that sort of stuff. But there is so much to the country. As you can see from the photograph here, we've got some incredible landscapes. The photos taken up in the Highlands. So anyone that's outdoorsy, there's amazing places to go there, as well as the really beautiful cities, which I'm going to come on to now. So Edinburgh itself, like I said, is the capital city. I'm very, very lucky and feel very privileged to have grown up here in the city. It is one of the best cities in the world, officially, not just me saying that. It was voted so by Time Out magazine in 2022. The centre of the city itself is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So we have Edinburgh Castle right in the centre, which you can see in that top photograph, which actually sits on top of a extinct volcano. One of 2 in the city. We've got two extinct volcanoes here. And the whole kind of centre of the city, the old town, is really historic and really, really beautiful. Also a really student-friendly city. So we've got over 60,000 students based here in Edinburgh. So it means there's loads of student accommodation, student jobs and student support, as well as just a really good student life as well. So Edinburgh is the 2nd best city in the United Kingdom for student life, just behind London. Where are we within the city? Well, like I mentioned, we have 3 campuses spread out to the west side of the city. Edinburgh's actually not very big, so it doesn't take long at all to get around. And we have a really, really fantastic public transport system, which is really safe, really clean, and really easy to use. So most people in the city, especially if they live near the centre, don't actually have cars. Everyone just uses public transport. So you can see from the map there, our 3 campuses are outlined, as well as our accommodation, and it's not far at all from the centre. So students find it really easy to get around no matter what campus they're based on. We also are not actually that far away in terms of travelling to us. We're really close to a lot of the really big hubs in Europe. So we're less than an hour's flight from London. It's about an hour and a half to Amsterdam. Where from those 2 really big hubs, you can get pretty much anywhere in the world. We also have direct flights to Doha for Qatar as well, which makes it really accessible for lots of people. So next, we're going to look in more detail about those 3 campuses that I mentioned. Our first campus is Craiglockhart campus, and this is the home of our business school. It's set in a really, really beautiful part of the city with beautiful gardens and things around the campus. It's very much a mix of the old and the new. So you can see from this photograph, the older side of the campus on the far side has a lot of history. It was a stately home at one point. It was a war hospital during World War I. And it was also then after that a convent. And when we took over in the 1980s, actually there were still nuns that lived and actually worked in our student accommodation when we first moved to the site. They are no longer there. And you can see the big extension that we built onto it as well. On the front of the campus, you can see what is affectionately known as the Egg. It is the iconic 200-seat Lindsay Stewart Lecture Theatre, absolutely stunning inside with really great views over the city. I think personally it looks more like a spaceship, but it does get called the Egg. Second campus is Site Hill. So this is our newest campus. It was fully knocked down and rebuilt and reopened in 2011. And it is the home to our School of Applied Sciences and School of Health and Social Care. So I'll go through the programs that are included in that in a little while, but all of the specialist equipment for those programs is based on this campus. So our sports centres, our bio labs, our nursing program suites, we have all laid out on this campus as well. Third and finally, the campus where I'm broadcasting to you from today, our Merchiston campus. So this is our original and oldest campus. The big building in the centre there is Napier Tower, which is where John Napier was born and lived. And this is very much where we get our name from. So this campus is the home to the School of Arts and Creative Industries and the School of Computing, Engineering and the Built Environment. This campus also houses the 500-seat Jack Kilby Computing Centre, also just known as the Kilby, which is a 24-hour library available to all students throughout semester 1 and semester 2 of the year. So there's a lot of late nights on this campus, students working away for those last-minute submissions. It's also the closest one to the centre of town and to our accommodation. So a lot of students do choose to come and work on this campus, no matter which campus their course is based on. They can use the facilities on any one. Next, we're going to be looking at the programmes in a little bit more detail. So now we're going to go through each of our schools in turn and look at the programs that are covered in each. So like I mentioned, we've got the 5 academic schools: business, applied sciences, arts and creative industries, computing, engineering and the built environment, and health and social care. Quick side note, the picture here is actually the inside of that egg that I mentioned in our campuses video. So that spaceship looking thing at the front of our Craiglockert campus, this is the inside, which I think is pretty cool. So first of all, the business school. This covers quite a wide variety of areas you can see listed there. So quite a wide range from things like accounting to law, to festival and events, to marketing. Edinburgh's really, really well set up for these programs. We are the financial hub of Scotland, and we also have the largest arts festival in the world here that happens every August. It's actually happening right now because I am recording this in August. So the city is full of people coming to perform, and it makes it a really fantastic place for students to come and complete that sort of course, because we have lots of partnerships with companies that operate things at the festivals. School of Applied Sciences, so this is broken down into 3 main areas. We've got our kind of biosciences, so that's things like animal conservation, pharmaceutical and microbiology. We then have our life sciences, so things like criminology, psychology, and social sciences. And then our sports sciences, so sports coaching, sports and exercise, physical activity. And each of those sections has their own specialist labs and specialist areas of the campus with all the equipment required for any bits of research that students want to complete. Next, our School of Arts and Creative Industries. Again, a really huge school with loads of different programs. So we have full film studios set up, we have a television suite, we have a radio booth, as well as full music studios, design labs, and acting studios as well. Next, the School of Computing, Engineering and the Built Environment. So again, this is a really big school. This actually used to be 2 schools and they combined them into 1. So we have real focus on civil, mechanical and electrical engineering. They're the main areas we focus on there. And we have a massive variety of computing-based programs. They range from cybersecurity to data science to systems engineering, loads of different areas. So really, really wide variety of programs there too. And finally, our School of Health and Social Care. So at bachelor's level, this is pretty much exclusively nursing programs. We have the largest school of nursing in Scotland. So we offer adult nursing, child nursing, and mental health. And then at master's level, we offer a range of other programs such as healthcare and public health, and then also occupational physiotherapy and social work. Next, we're going to be looking at the types of programs offered at the university. So how are Scottish degrees structured? At undergraduate level, there is a bit of a difference between Scotland and other areas in the UK. So in England, Wales and Northern Ireland, a bachelor's degree is only going to be 3 years. However, in Scotland, it is 4 years. This is because we do have a separate education system here. So our high school system runs completely separately. We don't do A levels, we do something called Scottish Highers, which just run at a slightly different level, meaning that our degrees are 4 years. It does seem weird when you're looking at the UK, but actually internationally, it's a lot more similar to places like Canada, the US, and many other locations who also run 4-year structures. There are many benefits to this as well. It provides breadth and depth in the subject area, as we do have a little bit more time to delve into the subject with students, and does provide a little bit more flexibility as well, because if a student is maybe not quite on the right course in their first year, but there's a similar course that actually suits them better, it's fairly straightforward for us to switch them over during the first year so they don't have to restart the course all over again. We also include study abroad options and year in industry options within the 4 years of the degree. You do not need to add this in. So like many other areas of the United Kingdom, if you wanted to do that, you would actually have to extend to 4 years. Here you wouldn't, it's part of your 4-year degree. And we do have really high graduation and employment rates from that. At postgraduate level, typically our programs are 1 year. We have a 3-trimester structure, so it's 2 teaching trimesters and then the final research trimester where they do their master's project. If you start with us in September, that would be 12 months. However, a lot of our master's programs also have a January start date. If a student decided to start their master's in January, it would take 18 months, as we do not do teaching over the summer trimester. So they would start in January, do their first semester, have a break over the summer, and then start their second teaching trimester from the September again. And a lot of students actually quite like this structure and actually choose to come and start in January. It gives them a little bit longer here in the UK to be a student as well. And then they can work full time during that summer period because we don't have the 20-hour restriction. We also have a handful of 2-year masters that you can see listed here. And again, these are really, really popular with our international students. For similar reasons that I mentioned to the January start, it does provide that time over the summer where they can work full time or they can travel more around the UK. As I mentioned, there's lots of festivals and things that happen in Edinburgh over the summer. So a lot of our students really love the opportunity to stay, either work or just explore and spend time in the city over that time. Our 2-year masters also have a slightly different pricing structure. So the course fees for a 2-year masters are actually around the same as a 1-year masters, but they're split over the 2 years. So it can spread the cost and make things a little more affordable for some students. So next, we're going to look at actually navigating our website and how to find information on there. So now I'm going to show you how to navigate our website. So on our website, we have a page for each individual course that has a breakdown of what students will study. entry requirements, fees, and all of that information. We also have a dedicated international section, which I will run through, show you how to find, as well as how to find our country-specific pages when you are looking for any specific entry criteria or support information for international students. So this is our website homepage. As you can probably tell, it's clearing at the minute based on the banner at the top. This week is actually Scottish Higher Results Week, so it's been a very busy week here at the university. But this banner will change quite often through the year with whatever's going on and the big kind of news of the day at the university. There's loads of fantastic information on here, but there's a couple of areas that I am going to highlight to you today. First of all is right up the top here, the banner and the first section, courses. So if you hover over this, you'll see all of our different subject areas that we have, which is a great way to kind of explore our degrees and get a little bit more detail on what we have on offer. But if you have a student, that knows that they want to do business management, for example, you can select that and it will take you to that subject area. So if you scroll down slightly, you'll see some kind of, information about the school, information about some of our top courses, and then you will find the full course list. This box at the top will be how you navigate between undergraduate and postgraduate programs. You can switch between them very, very easily. As you can see, we have a lot of business courses. Some of them are only offered online. You can see that there from the ones that say online learning. So for international students wanting to come and study on campus, you're looking for the ones that say full-time, because you have to be studying full-time to get a visa for the UK, or a student visa, should I say. So we'll take business management just as an example of a course page. So every single one of our programs will have a course page that will look incredibly similar to this. I will scroll down slowly just to show you some of the details. So it will have an overview of the course. It will also outline the start dates. So for our masters, it will show if it has a September and a January start date or just the September one. For undergraduate, it's only ever going to be September. As you scroll down, there will be more information on the course itself, the modules that you'll study, especially at master's level. They generally have these little drop downs, so you can actually see in a lot of detail what each of the modules covers. And I think that's a really great way for students to take a look and make sure it's the right course for them. How it's assessed as well will also be listed, so the types of assessments that they'll do. Further down, you'll find entry requirements. So generally here, you will see the UK entry requirements. And if you want to look at the international entry requirements, there's a link there to take you through to the country pages, which I'll show you in just a moment. Just underneath here, you're going to have fees and funding. So this is where the fees are going to be listed for all of the programs. And it's the bottom row that you will be looking for, this overseas and EU students line. So the fees for this course are £18,800 for the full degree for students starting in September 24 and January 25. And then underneath there, there's just a bit of an idea of the careers that a student can go on to with this degree. So there will be a list of some of the types of degrees that our previous students have been onto, have gone on to do. And we have this for every single one of our programs. So that's the course pages in a very quick run through. Like I mentioned, I'm also going to show you how to find the specific country requirements for whatever course your student is from. So you can find that through clicking on this link. It will take you to the international section of our website and specifically the country section. Underneath, you'll see we have them split by region. So if I click on Africa, for example, and I'll click on Botswana, that's right here at the top, there will be entry requirements for both undergraduate and postgraduate listed on here. So as you can see, for Botswana, they would need to complete a pathway program to be considered first year of entry. And for postgraduate, they would need to have one of the following qualifications. We also have the English language details here, and we also have the entry requirements for any of our pathway programs that a student might be interested in. So for this country, that is very relevant as we don't accept the high school qualifications. So you can see the details down there as well. Lots of other information about scholarships, visits in your country. So if we are hopefully traveling over and we're going to be in that country, that would be listed there as well. So those are the two main areas of the website that I would direct you to. There's also lots more information in our international students section. So we have areas such as finding courses, the International Pathway College, which is based here at the Merchiston campus, like I just mentioned, as well as information again on your country, on scholarships, and on visa requirements as well. So visa and international support, lots of information there too. Next, we're going to look at the application basics. So now we're going to look at some of the entry requirements and the documents that we require when submitting an application. Like I mentioned, the entry requirements are on each of the individual course pages, and I've showed you how to navigate to those in the previous video. However, just to recap, on each individual course page, you will see the entry requirements section. If a student has completed UK entry requirements, such as international A-levels, and GCSEs, you can use the entry requirements listed on this section of the website. However, if they have completed qualifications from their home country, which most will do, you can find those listed on the country page of the website that I've showed you how to navigate to. The application process will be through UCAS for undergraduate and directly through the website for postgraduate. And in general, the documents that we require is a personal statement, a reference. So if they've been within education within the past 3 years, we would like it to be an academic reference. If they've been out of education for over 3 years, we are happy to accept an employment reference, but it's important for the students to know that. We need a CV, and this needs to be a full and up-to-date CV, because unfortunately that doesn't always happen and it can delay offers. Quite often people always seem to forget to add their current employment to their CV. I understand, I totally get it. I would probably do the same, but please do make sure they've added everything possible when they're sending it in to us. Copies of their qualifications with official translations if required. And the English language, again, if required. We know not all countries do require English language tests, but if they do, or English language evidence, they must submit that as well. And deadlines. So for undergraduates, we do accept applications up until the 30th of June each year for that September. So for September 24, we were accepting applications up until the 30th of June, 2024. After that, we go into clearing, and we can potentially make offers in clearing, but it can become quite tricky just with turnaround times and visa processing times. So we do always advise the sooner the better. Same for postgraduate. We don't have any strict application deadlines, but we do, again, advise the sooner the better, because we will put in place deposit deadlines and CAS deadlines, which basically then become the deadlines that people need to meet. So if they know they want to apply, we say apply early. We don't charge for applications, so the sooner they can get them in, the better. Next, we're going to look at tuition fees and scholarships. So here you can see the tuition fees for September 24 and January 25. Our undergraduate fees and postgraduate fees do vary slightly depending on the course. Lab-based programs that have a lot of materials involved do have a slightly higher price tag than others, but there's not too much variation here. The postgraduate fees are ones I'll highlight just in terms of those 2-year masters. A lot of them tend to be around 20 to 21,000, but it gets split at around 10 to 11,000 per year, depending on the program. For all other ones, it's as listed here per year of the course. In terms of So now we're going to look at all the student support on offer at the university. As you can see from the list here, we have an extensive amount of support available to students, and that's something we take really great pride in. So I'm going to run through these in turn. First of all, our visa and international support team, they're actually part of our wider department, and they're based in the same office as us out at our Sighthill campus. So they're the ones that are responsible for issuing all of the CAS letters to students. They also provide immigration and visa advice. They're all fully qualified, trained visa counsellors. And they also provide support for students once they are in country as well. So if students are having any issues, not just around their visas, but any kind of issues in attending classes, or if they just need some more support, it's a really great place for them to go. They are available on campus Monday to Friday, so they can always drop in, as well as arranging appointments. From the academic side, every single student is assigned a personal development tutor. This will be one of the academics on their course, and they are there to support them with anything they need throughout the course of their degree. We always suggest students arrange a meeting with them during their first few weeks, just to kind of meet them face to face or online if they don't have time, just to kind of get to know them a little bit. So if they do have anything they need, if they needed extensions or extra support on an assignment, they know who they can go to. Student Futures, I highlighted in a previous video all of the work that they do, but they have lots of interactive sessions that students can join. They run mock interviews, they run CV writing sessions that students can attend, as well as kind of career guidance and coaching, and help with applying for jobs as well. We also have English for academic purposes teams. So we fully appreciate that, it can be difficult when English isn't your first language to understand some of the terminology around academia. So if students are having any issues, if they need any support, our English team are there, as well as our academic skills team. It can be quite a tough transition from the learning style in their home country to the learning style in the UK. So the academic skills team run workshops on essay writing, referencing, as well as one-to-one drop-ins that students can sign up and go to. Wellbeing and inclusion is another really important team at the university. So students, everyone needs support sometimes with their physical and mental health. So that wellbeing team is there to support them. They have a hotline that can be called 24/7, as well as any kind of maybe additional support if there's any physical or learning disability needs that maybe need a bit more attention and a bit more support. That team are there to help. We also have our faith, spirituality and chaplaincy teams and our iPoint teams, which are receptions on campus that students can go to Monday to Friday, any day, to get that quick support. Finally, ENSA. ENSA is the Edinburgh Napier Student Association. It has 4 main sections. So we have the ENSA societies and sports teams. You can see in the background of that photo, some of them. They do change each year because new students will come in and create new create new societies. We also have ENSA representation, which is generally 2 students from each year of each course that are the program reps. They will attend student council meetings and program meetings to put the student voice across. We also have a fully impartial ENSA advice service. So if there's anything at all that students need support with that they don't feel comfortable coming to anyone at the university about, they can go to ENSA and get that fully impartial, fully separate advice. I also always like to highlight that our ENSA president has been one of our international students for the past 3 or 4 years now. So we have international representation right at the top of our student association, and that's something that I really love. Next, I'm going to look at our accommodation. Deciding where to live when you're coming to study is a really big decision. We have 2 options available. You can either stay in our university accommodation, which is very close to all of our campuses, or you can look at private accommodation. For undergraduate students, we guarantee them a space in our student accommodation in their first year. And it is generally what we advise, especially for students that are straight out of high school and are already adjusting, to kind of adult life. We do highly recommend staying in our accommodation. However, like I said, it is not compulsory. Our rooms range in size. Some of them will have ensuite bathrooms. I think the majority do now. However, there are a few still that have a shared bathroom. All of our accommodation are set out like individual flats. They will have between 5 and 8 bedrooms in a flat, with then a shared living room and kitchen area. Like I said, they do vary in size. The rooms also vary. There are some larger rooms, some slightly smaller ones, and we do have a very small number of twin rooms that are very, very much what you see in the kind of American style dorm rooms. We don't have many of those. Some students really like them. Some people really wouldn't want those. So it does kind of, very much depend on the individual preference. And our rooms range slightly in price, but they're starting from roughly £189 per week. That includes all of their heating and electricity bills and their Wi-Fi, and their council tax as well. So there's no other bills to go on top of that. If students don't want to stay in our accommodation, they absolutely can look at private accommodation. And we do have a private accommodation team that can provide them with support in, what areas of the city to look in, what to watch out for in landlord agreements to make sure it's a legitimate landlord. They can advise on certain letting agencies. We can't give any solid recommendations, but they have a list that students have worked with before and had good experiences with that they can provide. And there's a whole section on our website about private accommodation. So please do check that out and reach out to the team if you need any help. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end and watching all of the videos. I hope you found them really helpful and informative. And if there's anything else you want to know, I always suggest going to the website. Everything I've covered today is listed on there. So please do take a look. And if you do need any other support, the university is always here. We're happy to help. Our international department are very friendly and here to help with any questions you have. So some of the key takeaways I hope you've got from today is the really incredible location we have here of Edinburgh, the really beautiful city and surroundings of our campuses, our really high-tech and state-of-the-art facilities, and just the friendly and supportive nature of the university. So I really do believe that it's a fantastic place for students to come and complete their studies. Thank you again, and we hope that we'll be hearing from you soon.
Right, okay, so ඒ අපි ඔබ දැනුවත් කරේ එඩින්බර් නැපිය යුනිවර්සිටි එකට කොහොමද ඇප්ලයි කරන්නේ මොනවද කෝසස් කවදට ඇප්ලයි කරන්න ඕනේ මොන වගේ ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම්ස්ද තියෙන්නේ මොන වගේ ඩොකියුමන්ට්ස් අවශ්‍ය ඉතින් අද අපි කතා කරේ එක්සත් රාජධානියට කොහොමද ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක් වශයෙන් එන්නේ කියන එක සහ යුනිවර්සිටි එකක් ස්කොට්ලන්ඩ් වල තියෙන එඩින්බර් නැපිය යුනිවර්සිටි එක ගැන තමයි කතා කරන්නේ හැමදාම උදෑසන 10ට මම ඔබ හා සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා සජීවීව සෝෂල් මීඩියා ඔස්සේ. ඔබට අවශ්‍ය සියලුම උපදෙස් සහ සහයෝගය ලබා දෙන්න පිටරට අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා යන දරුවන්ට අත්වලක් වෙන්න ඉන්ෆර්මේෂන් ලබා දෙන්න උදව් කරන්න. ඒ වගේම අපේ ආයතන පිහිටලා තියෙනවා BML ශ්‍රී ලංකා අංක 163 4 නවනුවර පාර මාලබේ කියන ලිපිනේ. ඉතින් ඔබට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන් තිරේ දිස්වන නම්බර්ස් වලට කතා කරලා අපොයින්ට්මන්ට් එකක් අරගෙන එන්න කතා කරන්න. අපේ කාර්ය මණ්ඩලය සැදී පැහැදී සිටිනවා ඔබට අවශ්‍ය සියලුම උපදෙස් නොමිලේ ලබා දෙන්න. ඒ වගේම අපි දහසකුත් යුනිවර්සිටිස් එක්ක වැඩ කරන නිසා දැන් අවුරුදු 15ක් පුරාවට මේ ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රි එකේ මමත් මගේ කාර්ය මණ්ඩලයත් මහා සම්බන්ධ ආයතන කිහිපයකුත් එංගලන්තයේ සහ ලංකාවේ ඔපරේට් වෙන ගමන් ඉතින් අපි ගොඩක් යුනිවර්සිටිස් එක්ක සහ සමදියාවෙන් කටයුතු කරගෙන යනවා ගොඩාක් දරුවන්ට උසස් අධ්‍යාපන අවස්ථා ලබා දෙන්න. ඉතින් හැමදාම වගේ සජීවීව මම ඔබ හා සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා සිංහල භාෂාවෙන් එක දවසකුත් ඉංග්‍රීසි භාෂාවෙන් තව දවසකුත්. මොකද අපිට දරුවන් රටවල් 14ක දරුවන් ගේ ඇප්ලිකේෂන් අපි කරනවා ස්ටුඩන්ට් වීසාස් අපි කරනවා. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා මේ මාධ්‍යයන් දෙකින්ම ඔබට විස්තර දැනගන්න පුළුවන් හැමදාම උදේ 10ට මගේ Facebook එක හරහා Facebook, Instagram, එතකොට YouTube සහ LinkedIn කියන සමාජ මාධ්‍ය ඔස්සේ මම සජීවීව ඔබ හා සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා. සියලුම විස්තර දැනගන්න කොහොමද ඇප්ලයි කරන්න ඕනේ, මොන වගේ කෝස් එකක්ද හොඳ, මොන වගේ රටකටද යන්න ඕනේ, ඒ වගේ හැම උපදෙසක්ම ලබා දෙන්න අපි කටයුතු කරනවා. ඒ වගේම අපි කිසිදු මුදලක් අය කරන්නේ නැහැ ඔබට මේ උපදෙස් ලබා දෙනවට. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා කාටවත් ගෙවන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. ඔබට නොමිලේ සේවාව ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන්. යුනිවර්සිටි ෆී එක යුනිවර්සිටි එකට ඩයිරෙක්ට්ලි පේ කරන්නත් ඒ වගේම වීසා ෆී එක වීසා ඔෆිසර්ස් වලට වෙනම පේ කරන්නත් ඔබට පුළුවන්. අපිට කිසිදු මුදලක් අය කරන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා ඔබට නොමිලේ සේවයක් ලබා දෙන්න අවශ්‍ය උපදෙස් ලබා දෙන්න මොනවද දැනගන්න ඕනේ කියලා හරියටම මේ පාත් එකේ යන්නේ කොහොමද? දැන් ගොඩක් අයට සමහර වෙලාවට ලංකාවෙන් පිට ජීවත් වෙන අයත් අහනවා මිස් කොහෙද අපිට ඇප්ලයි කරන්න පුළුවන් UK එන්න පුළුවන්ද මොන වගේ යුනිවර්සිටිස්ද තියෙන්නේ කීයක් විතර යනවද අපිට මොන වගේ කන්ඩිෂන්ස් තියෙන අවුරුද්දක්ද අපිට টොප් අප් එකකට එන්න පුළුවන්ද එහෙම නැත්නම් මාස්ටර්ස් টොප් අප් වෙන්න පුළුවන්ද එහෙම නැත්නම් අන්ඩර් ග්‍රැජුවේට් টොප් අප් වෙන්න පුළුවන්ද PhD එකකට එන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා ඉතින් ගොඩක් අයට තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න නිරවුල් කරලා දෙන්න අපේ ටීම් එක ඉන්නවා. ඉතින් කතා කරන්න 0777යි 79යි 89යි 89 කියන දුරකථන අංක විවෘතයි. ඒ වගේම අපි එංගලන්තේ ශාඛාවටත් ඔබට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඔබ දැන් සමහර අය UK වලට ඇවිල්ලා ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ වීසා එක්ස්පයර් වෙන්න යනවා නම් ඒගොල්ලන්ටත් අපි අවශ්‍ය උපදෙස් ලබා දෙනවා. ඔබට එක්ස්ටෙන්ඩ් කරන්න ඕන UK වල ඉන්නේ. UK වලින් දැන් වීසා එක ඉවරයි වගේ. දැන් තව වැඩිදුර අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා ඔබට ස්ටුඩන්ට් වීසා එකක් ඇප්ලයි කරන්න ඕන නම් අපිට කෝල් එකක් දෙන්න. අපි මේ දවස්වල සමහර අයට රට ඇතුළේ එක්සත් රාජධානියට ආපු අයට එක්ස්ටෙන්ෂන්ස් කරනවා වීසා එක්ස්ටෙන්ෂන්ස් කරනවා ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක් වශයෙන් අපිට ඔෆර් ලෙටර්ස් ලබා දීලා ඒ සෑම කටයුත්තක්ම ඔබට කරලා දෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් අද මම කතා කරේ UK ගැන ඒ වගේම එඩින්බරන් අපි යුනිවර්සිටි එක ගැන කතා කරා. ඉතින් ඒ UK විස්තරේ UK වලට එන්න ඕන නම් ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක් වශයෙන් එන්න ඕන නම් කතා කරන්න ඒ අවශ්‍ය සියලුම උපදෙස් අපි ලබා දෙනවා. දැන් අපි කතා කරන්න යන්නේ ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාව ගැන. ඉතින් රැඳී සිටින ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවට කොහොමද ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෙනෙක් වශයෙන් ඔබට යන්න අවශ්‍ය නම් මොන වගේ ඩේටාද දැනගන්න ඕනේ මොන වගේ ඉන්ෆර්මේෂන් දැනගන්න ඕනේ කියලා දැනගන්න අවශ්‍යයි රැඳී සිටින්න. ඉතින් මේ මගේ සෝෂල් මීඩියා ලයිව් එක ඉතින් හැමදාම ඔබ හා සම්බන්ධ වෙනවා. නොමිලේ සියලුම උපදෙස් ලබා දෙන්න මමත් මගේ කාර්ය මණ්ඩලයත් සැදී පැහැදී සිටිනවා. ඉතින් 11:57යි උදෑසන වෙලාව. ඉතින් රැඳී සිටින්න ඊළඟට අපි කතා කරන්න යන්නේ ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවට කොහොමද ඇප්ලයි කරන්න ඕනේ. ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ මොන වගේ යුනිවර්සිටිස් තියෙන ඒ වගේම ඇයි ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවට උසස් අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා යන්න ඕනේ කියන කාරණා කතා කරන්න රැඳී සිටින්න. ආසිරි පෙරේරා live from England and අපි හැමදාම උදේ ලයිව් වෙනවා. ඉතින් විස්තර දැනගන්න, දරුවන්ට අවශ්‍ය උපදෙස් ලබා දෙන්න, දෙමව්පියන්ට තීරණයක් ගන්න අවශ්‍ය උපදෙස් ලබා දෙන්න. සියලුම උපදෙස් සහ ඒ ඩොකියුමන්ට්ස් කියන CV එකක් හදන්නේ කොහොමද ඉන්ටර්විව් එකට ෆේස් කරන්නේ, ඒ හැමදේම දැනගන්න ඕනේ. මොකද ගොඩක් දුරට යුනිවර්සිටිස් වලින් ඒ වගේම ඒ වීසා ඔෆිසස් වලින් මේ දවස්වල ඉන්ටර්විව්ස් තියෙනවා දරුවන්ට. එතකොට දැනගෙන යන එක ඊටාම වැදගත්. නොදැන යනවට වඩා ඉතින් දැනගෙන යන්න ඕනේ. ඒ හා සම්බන්ධ ඩොකියුමන්ට්ස් මොනවද? ඒවා කොහොමද හදන්නේ? CV එක හදන්නේ කොහොමද? SOP එකක් හදන්නේ කොහොමද? ඊළඟට ඒ මොන වගේ ඉන්ටර්විව් එකකට ඔබ සහභාගී වෙන්න ඕනද? ඒවට අවශ්‍ය කරුණු ඔබ හොයාගන්නේ කෙසේද කියන ඒ හැම දෙයකටම උත්තරය තියෙනවා. ඉතින් කතා කරන්න අපිට පුළුවන් ඔබට උදව් කරන්න. දහසකුත් දරුවන්ට අපි දැනටමත් උදව් කරලා තියෙනවා. රටවල් 14ක දහසකුත් දරුවන්ට අපි උසස් අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා දැනටමත් උදව් කරලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒ පළපුරුද්ද, ඒ අත්දැකීම් සහ අධ්‍යාපනික සුසුකම් මේ හැම දෙයක්ම තුලින් අපි ලබාගත් පන්නරය දැනටමත් ගොඩක් දරුවන්ට ගොඩක් සහාය වී අවසන්. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා අපි දැන් සෙප්තැම්බර් ඉන්ටේක් එකට සහ මයි ඉන්ටේක් එකට ගොඩක් මේ දවස්වල සිසුන් බඳවා ගන්නවා. ඔබට වැඩි විස්තර දැනගන්න පුළුවන් අපේ කාර්ය මණ්ඩලයට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම අපේ ආයතන වලට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් පුරා හෝරා 2ක් දැනටමත් ඔබ මහා රැඳී සිටියා. බොහොම ස්තුතියි. තවත් විස්තර ගෙනෙන්න සූදානම්. ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවට යන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා ඊළඟට අපි කතා කරමු.
Are you ready to learn about exciting educational opportunities for international students in Australia? Australia is one of the most popular study abroad destinations for international students, with a global reputation for academic excellence, high quality research and training opportunities, and access to cutting edge technology. The new Apply Board Counselor course for Australia gives you the professional knowledge you need to understand the Australian education system and assist students to pursue world-class study opportunities in Australia. You'll learn what it's like to live and study in Australia, how the Australian education system works, from primary school to vocational training to university, how to get successful enrollments in Australian courses, information about student visa application processes. When you complete the course, you'll receive a certificate of completion to demonstrate your expertise in the Australian education system and international student journey. Learn more about the Apply Board Counselor course and get started today.
Australia is one of the most popular destinations for international students. What makes it such a desirable place? The benefits of studying in Australia, educational opportunities available to international students, what life is like in different regions of Australia, and an overview to Australian history, government, culture, and economy. So, we will learn about why study in Australia today. Australia attracts international students because of its globally recognized academic institutions and high quality education system accessible to student services, multicultural society, and vibrant lifestyle. As of December 2024, over 1 million international students enrolled in studies in Australia. Australia has world class education. Get at world class education. Australia has an outstanding higher education system. Most Australian qualifications are recognized by employers and academics worldwide. Australia's 200 plus registered higher education institutions offer premium training and research facilities and have knowledgeable and passionate lecturers. Several higher education institutions are consistently ranked among the world's top 100. Australian higher educational institutions are regulated by the federal government through the Tertiary Education Quality and Standards Agency and Australian Skills Quality Authority. Also, Australia has a long history of world class research and development, which is meaningfully supported by the Australian government. Graduates from Australian universities contributed to the invention of Wi Fi, penicillin, and cochlear ear implant, black box flight recorders, and the Earth Hour initiative. Australian people and culture. Australia is culturally diverse, with residents whose ancestry spans the globe living in each of its regions. This creates a broader culture which can be lively, outdoorsy, and creative. For example, the city of Melbourne is known as Australia's cultural capital and is full of museums and art galleries, live music and film venues, and historic Victorian architecture. It also has a rich literary history and lively food scene. Australia's southern eastern Gold Coast region is known for its sandy beaches, incredible surfing spots, and thrilling theme parks. Tasmania, an island located off the southeast coast, is one of the Australia's smallest states, with one-fifth of its area designated as a World Heritage Area. Australia's varied geography, sweeping coastline, and pristine wilderness contribute to many Australians' love for outdoors. There's been abundance of national parks to go kayaking, fishing, and hiking in. Camping in Australian outbacks is extraordinary adventure as well. These are just few examples of Australia's distinct cultural heritage. Modern Australian culture has been influenced by its diverse history and geography. Culture. Australia's British influence, deep indigenous roots, and geographical isolation from the rest of the world makes its culture distinctive. Australia's indigenous communities and Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples are integral to Australian culture. They first settled over 60,000 years ago and established some of the earliest communities in human history. Many of these communities maintain their traditional way of life and significantly influence today's Australian culture. Australia's indigenous history, artifacts, art, and symbols are recognized throughout national museums and celebrated with many indigenous festivals. There are numerous museums throughout Australia that illuminate the history of Australian Indigenous culture, including the Australian Museum and the National Museum of Australia. Also, sustainable tours are available to learn more about indigenous communities and how they've influenced Australia's culture. Australia's ties to the UK have heavily influenced its culture as well across its entertainment industry, food scene, and fashion and sports culture. Australia has a vibrant art scene spanning theatre, music, and literature. Some of the world's most prominent actors from Australia, um, uh, from Margaret Robbie and Kate Blanchett, Hugh Jackman to Russell Crowe, many Australians take center stage on global screens. Plus, many famous bands and music artists are Australian. Australians often enjoy the arts by visiting many renowned art galleries or by going to music festivals such as Splendor in the Grass, Laneway, Wildlands, and Meredith musical festivals. Locals and visitors attend performances such as ballet, opera, theatre, live music, or comedy shows at one of the Australia's many performing arts centres. The most famous venue in the country is the Sydney Opera House. Okay, so these are the different festivals, and Australia is well known for its music, sports, and uh, the culture. Sports is another great way to enjoy Australian culture. Australians love to gather at live sports venues or bustling pubs to watch cricket, Australian rules football, soccer, rugby, tennis, golf, and many more. Australians also enjoy participating in sports. In 2024, 66% of surveyed adults were active at least once a week. Incoming students are likely to find lots of sports leagues to join on campus where they can get exercise and make new friends. Globally renowned sporting events like the Australian Open tennis tournament and the Melbourne Cup, uh, horse races, and Sydney to Hobart Yacht Race are hosted every year in Australia. Multiculturalism. Australia's multicultural population identifies with over 300 different ancestries. Between 1945 and 2020, more than 8.5 million immigrants settled in Australia. Almost 32% of the Australian population was born overseas, and nearly every country was represented in Australia's population as of 2024. The largest group of overseas born residents in 2024 were from England and made up 3.5% of Australia's population. The next largest population was from India at 3.4%, the China 2.6%, and New Zealand at 2.3%, and Philippines 1.5%, rounded up to the top 5. In 2024, the largest international student population on campuses across Australia were from China, India, Nepal, Vietnam, and the Philippines. While Australia has no official language, English functions as the national language, and it is almost universally spoken. However, Australians speak over 300 languages. Over 50 of these are actively spoken indigenous languages. Beyond English, other popular languages include Mandarin, Arabic, Cantonese, Vietnamese, Italian, Greek, and Punjabi. Australia's multicultural population has inspired diverse food options and infused many different cultural traditions in the Australian way of life. Australia holds 3-day national multicultural festival each year in Canberra to celebrate cultural diversity. Other cultural festivals celebrated throughout Australia include Lunar New Year Festival, Tet, and Diwali. Students can also enjoy a large Oktoberfest festival in Brisbane or Greek festival in Sydney. Cuisines. As a modern nation with residents from across the world, Australia's cuisines reflects its people. Australian food includes dishes inspired by European, Asian, and Middle Eastern cuisines. Popular Australian dishes include chicken parmigiana, meat pies, barramundi, a local fish dish, and Vegemite on toast, and Chico rolls, a deep fried pastry filled with a mixture of cabbage, meat, and vegetables. While burgers are also popular in Australia, the traditional toppings are beetroot spread, a slice of pineapple, and a fried egg. A typical Aussie barbecue might include barbecued snacks, sausages, a grilled meat and seafood, chips or fries, and fresh salad. Classic Australian desserts include a pavlova, lamington cake, and the Anzac biscuits, fairy bread, and Tim Tams. Recently, Australians and tourists alike have sparked interest in traditional indigenous cuisine called bush tucker or bush food. Bush tucker refers to any plants, fish, or animals native to Australia that indigenous communities have lived off since coming to Australia. Popular bush tucker dishes include meats like kangaroo, emu, wallaby, fruits, and quandong, kutjera or ribbery yams, warrigal greens, honey, witchetty grubs, bongong moots, and macadamia nuts. Hmm, it is interesting, isn't it? Mm, we are learning about different cultures, different foods, cuisines, and how people behave, and about their history. So it's very important that we get to know about these facts when we move any part of the world for higher education. So I'm here to support you all the way, getting more information about Australia. So අද මම කතා කරා UK ගැන ඊට පස්සේ UK යුනිවර්සිටි එකක් ගැන කතා කරා. ඉතින් දැන් මම කතා කරන්නේ ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාව ගැන. ඉතින් ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ කොහොමද මිනිසුන් ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ කල්චර්ස් කොහොමද විවිධත්වයන් මොනවද? ඒ වගේම දැන් අපි කතා කරමු කොහොමද regions and climate ගැන. මොකද මේ විස්තර දැනගන්න ඕනේ ඔබ වෙන රටකට අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා යොමු වෙනවා නම් ඉතින් මේ විස්තර දැනගෙන යන එක I think Australia regions and climate. Australia is the smallest continent but the largest island in the world. It lies between the Indian and Pacific Oceans in the southern hemisphere. Australia has 6 states and 2 territories, including Tasmania, which is a small island off the country's southeast coast. Australia also administers a number of external territories, including Ashmore and Courtier Islands, Christmas Island, the Cocos or Keeling Islands, the Jervis Bay Territory, the Coral Sea Islands, Hard and McDonald's Islands, Norfolk Island, and the Australian and Antarctic Territory, around 40% of the Antarctic continent. Australia's capital city is Canberra, which is located between Sydney and Melbourne in the Australian Capital Territory. Okay, so these are the territories in Australia: Western Australia, Northern Territory, South Australia, Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, Tasmania, and Australian Capital Territories. Okay, so do you want to know more details about this? Let's see. Okay, Western Australia. International students who study in Western Australia can enjoy a relaxed West Coast lifestyle while staying connected to many educational and career opportunities. Western Australia is Australia's mining and engineering capital. Perth is also a premier destination for science, technology, economics, and mathematics professionals. The largest cities in Western Australia are Perth and Fremantle. The The Greater Perth area is home to 5 universities and several other vet institutions and schools. Perth and Fremantle are also generally less expensive than other Australian cities. Students can enjoy these clean and modern cities, their beautiful sunsets and beaches, and nearby natural wonders. Northern Territory. The Northern Territory is home to Charles Darwin University and Flinders University. In 2024, 4,900 international students studied in the Northern Territory. To encourage international students to study in the Northern Territory, its state government partners with education providers to offer scholarships at all study levels. The state's capital city of Darwin has all the essential services and infrastructure of any city. It is home to over 100 different multicultural groups and hosts many exciting festivals, cultural and social events. Natural wonders Uluru Kata Juta National Park and Kakadu National Park are also located in the Northern Territory and attracts thousands of visitors and researchers every year. Queensland. Queensland is home to 11 territory institutions and more than 850 other private registered training organizations. Brisbane, Queensland's capital city, is home to campuses from 9 different universities and is the fourth most affordable student city in Australia. Gold Coast, just a short drive south, is ranked as the most affordable student city in Australia. North of Brisbane, the Sunshine Coast is home to towns like Cairns, Townsville, Greater Whitsunday, and Rockhampton. Queensland also has an incredibly diverse environment, home to outback, tropical and subtropical coasts, mountains, rural farmland, and major cities alike. The Great Barrier Reef is also off the coast of northern Queensland. This diversity contributes to great opportunities for students in fields like marine science, ecotourism, agribusiness, and biological science. New South Wales. New South Wales is Australia's most populous state. It's home to many universities and vocational education and training providers. New South Wales has big cities, charming towns, and beautiful coastal landscapes along its north and south coasts. In the Hunter Valley region around Newcastle, there are rolling hills and wineries. Meanwhile, New England is home to national parks with many types of wildlife. Sydney is the capital of New South Wales and is regularly rated one of the world's top 10 student cities. Sydney is a very multicultural city. As of 2021, nearly 40% of Greater Sydney's residents were born overseas. Popular attractions in Sydney include the Sydney Opera House, Sydney Harbour Bridge, Bondi Beach, and Manly Beach. Sydney is also renowned for its creative industries. Students can participate in many free arts and culture events throughout the year. Students studying creative arts courses are likely to feel at home. Australian Capital Territory. The Australian Capital Territory is often called Canberra for the capital city of Australia located within it. Canberra is known for its national film festivals, love of snow sports, and annual Floridae flower celebration. As the nation's capital, many of Australia's government agencies are based in Canberra. It's also Australia's most educated city. Over 98% of its population have completed post-secondary study. Some of Australia's highest ranked universities are located in the Australian Capital Territory. In 2024, 20,000 international students attended courses at institutions across Australian Capital Territory. While government and academic institutions are major employers, the mix of public and private organizations means students can access diverse internships and work experience opportunities. Canberra is a medium sized city with a relatively low median age. Of Australia's capital cities, only Darwin has a younger median age. Its large student population contributes to the city's youthfulness. Canberra is one of the cleanest, safest, and healthiest capital cities in the world. Tasmania. Did you know that Tasmania is famous for its Bay of Fires Conservation Reserve and its stunning white sandy beaches and orange lichen covered granite? While it's home to many natural wonders, Tasmania is fueled by a booming economy which is supported by strong healthcare, international education, retail trade, and construction sectors. There is only one university in the state, the University of Tasmania, and one vocational provider. These two institutions deliver high quality programs to over 8,300 international students across Tasmania. Both the University of Tasmania and TASTAFE offer unique programs such as Antarctic Science, Marine and Maritime Science, Medical Science, Forestry, and Agricultural Sciences. The Tasmanian lifestyle is focused on nature, whether studied in the capital city of Hobart or Launceston. These urban centers may be small, but they still offer all the conveniences of a city. Victoria. International students chose Victoria for its high standards of living and high quality diverse educational options. Melbourne, in its capital city, is consistently ranked among the top 5 most livable cities in the world. Victoria's universities offer exceptional curriculums and facilities. They also offer support and resources tailored to international students. In region of Victoria, students can explore snow-capped mountains, lush countryside, and gorgeous coastlines by driving roads like the Great Ocean Road. South Australia. South Australia was home to over 54,000 international students in 2023 and offers a wide array of academic institutions, including schools, vet providers, universities, and English language colleges. Adelaide, the state's capital city, is an economic, academic and cultural centre. The Australian Space Agency is based out of Adelaide, as is a growing tech sector featuring global companies like Microsoft, NEC, Bay Systems, and the Big Four accounting firms like Deloitte, Ernst & Young, KPMG, and PricewaterhouseCoopers. As the case throughout as is the case throughout Australia, international graduates from Australian institutions can apply for a temporary graduate visa subclass 485 to gain valuable work experience in Australia. However, those who have studied and lived this designated regional area may be able to extended post study work opportunities, including a post higher education work visa, a second post higher education work visa. Right, so that was about regions and territories in Australia. Interesting to know. Right. So you're with Asri Pereira, and I am inspiring students around the world to get into higher education. This is my social media live. Right. So අපි දැන් කතා කර හිටියේ ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාව ස්ටඩන්ට් කෙනෙක් විදිහට යන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන කෙනෙකුට අවශ්‍ය උපදෙස් සහ ඒ රට පිළිබඳ විස්තරයක්. ඉතින් දැන් අපි කතා කරනවා කොහොමද ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ ක්ලයිමේට් එක ඒ වගේම වෙදර් එක කොහොමද කියලා. ඉතින් ගොඩක් අය දන්නවා මේ විස්තර ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එකකින් හොයාගන්න පුළුවන්, දන්න අඳුරන අයගෙන් අහගන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් ගොඩක් අය මේ විස්තර ඔල්රෙඩි දන්නවා. නමුත් ඉතින් මම විස්තර කරන්නේ මොකද ඔබට දන්නේ නැති කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා නම් මේ විස්තර වැදගත් වෙයි. ඔබ ඩිසිෂන් එකක් ගන්නකොට. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි තීරණයක් ගන්නවා කොයි රටටද යන්නේ කිව්වම අපේ රටවල් වල තියෙන විශේෂ දේවල් ඒ වගේම ඔබගේ අනාගතය හදාගන්න පුළුවන් අවස්ථා තියෙනවද, කොහොමද ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ employability opportunities ඒ වගේම ගොඩක් දේවල් අපි විස්තර ඉතින් හොයලා බලනවා. ඉතින් ඒ විස්තර දැනගන්න තමයි මම හැමදාම ඔබත් සමග සම්බන්ධ වෙන්නේ social media live තුලින්. ඉතින් අපි කතා කරා අද දවසේ UK ගැන කතා කරා, ඒ වගේම UK යුනිවර්සිටි එකක් ගැන කතා කරා. දැන් මේ කතා කරන්නේ ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාව ගැන. ඉතින් ගොඩාක් විස්තර තියෙනවා කියන්න. ඉතින් රැඳී සිටින්න ඔබට අවශ්‍ය නම් ඔබ පිටරට අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා සූදානම් වෙන කෙනෙක් නම් එහෙනම් එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔබේ දරුවාව ඔබ සූදානම් කරන්න හිතාගෙන ඉන්නවා නම් පිටරට අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා ඉතින් කෝල් එකක් දෙන්න. මමත් මගේ කාර්ය මණ්ඩලයත් සැදී පැහැදී සිටිනවා ඔබට සියලුම උපදෙස් ලබා දෙන්න. අපි කීයක් උතය කරන්නේ නැහැ ස්ටුඩන්ට් වීසාස් වලට. ඉතින් ඒ ගැන වැඩි විස්තර දැනගන්න කෝල් එකක් දෙන්න. නැත්නම් අපිව හම්බ වෙන්න පුළුවන්. අපි මාළඹේ අපේ ඔෆිස් එක තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් විස්තර දැනගන්න එන්න. ඒ වගේම ඉතින් දැන් අපි කතා කර හිටියේ ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාව ගැන. ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ කොහොමද ආර්ථිකය වගේම ඒ ටෙරිටරිස් ගැන, ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ හිස්ටරි එක ගැන මොන වගේ දේවල්ද ඔබට අත්දැකීම්. මොකද පිටරට අධ්‍යාපනය සඳහා යනවා කියන්නේ අධ්‍යාපනය පමණක් නෙමෙයි ලබන්නේ. ඔබට ලබන අත්දැකීම, ඔබගේ ජීවන රටාවන් වෙනස් වෙනවා. ඔබගේ සිතුම් පැතුම්, ඔබගේ අනාගතය වෙනස් වෙන තීරණාත්මක අවධියක් වෙනවා ඒක. මොකද පිටරට අධ්‍යාපනය ගොඩක් අය ලබා ගන්නේ ඒ අධ්‍යාපන සුසුකම් විතරක් නෙමෙයි. ඊට එහා බැඳුණු ගොඩාක් දේවල් ඔබ ජීවිතයට එකතු කරගන්නවා. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා යන්න කලින් මේ රටවල් ගැන විවිධත්වයන්, ඒ වගේ තියෙන හොඳ සහ නරක දේවල්, ඒ හැම දෙයක් ගැනම දැනුවත් වී යන එක හොඳ නිසා තමයි. ඉතින් හැමදාම මම ඔබ හා සම්බන්ධ වෙන්නේ. මොකද දරුවන්ට අවශ්‍ය උපදෙස් ලබා දීම අපේ යුතුකමක් සහ අපේ වගකීමක්. ඉතින් ඒ නිසා ඔබට මේ හැම විස්තරයක්ම දැනගෙන මේ රටේ මෙහෙමයි මෙච්චරක් විතර වේදම යනවා, මේ විදිහට තමයි ජීවත් වෙන්නේ, මේ රටවල් වල තියෙන අනිකුත් කාලගුණක විපර්යාස, ඒ වගේම ඒ රටවල් වල තියෙන කල්චර් එක, ඒ වගේ මිනිස්සු සහ ඒ වගේ තියෙන තාක්ෂණික දියුණුව, සයන්ටිෆික් දියුණුව මොනවද ඒ වගේ තියෙන අනාගතය ඔබ සැලසුම් කරනවා නම් දැන් ගත්තොත් මරයින් ඉන්ජිනියරින් වගේ කෙනෙක් කරන්න ඉගෙන ගන්න කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවනම් ඉතින් මේ වගේ කෝස්ටල් ඒරියා එකක යුනිවර්සිටි එකක ඉගෙන ගන්න යන එක ඉතාම වටිනවා. ඉතින් ඒ වගේ දැන් මම ඉස්සෙල්ලා කතා කරා වගේ ස්කොට්ලන්තයට ඔබට යන්න පුළුවන්. එඩින්බර් නැපි යුනිවර්සිටි එක, ඒ වගේ ගොඩක් යුනිවර්සිටි ගැන මම කතා කරා. ඉතින් යුනිවර්සිටිස් වලට යන්න ඔබගේ අවශ්‍යතාවය අනුව ඔබට ඒක සකසා ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔබ ඉගෙන ගන්න යන සබ්ජෙක්ට් එක අනුව හොඳ යුනිවර්සිටි එක මොකක්ද, රෑන්කින් කොහොමද, ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ quality of education කොහොමද, ඒ වගේ දේවල් ගොඩක් විස්තර දැනගන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් අද කතා කරන්නේ අපි ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාව ගැන. ඉතින් ඔබට මගේ Facebook එකේ ගියොත් මගේ මීට කලින් වීඩියෝස් බලන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් හැමදාම වගේ මම ඔබට අවශ්‍ය තොරතුරු අරගෙන එනවා. ඊට අමතරව මොනවා හරි දෙයක් දැනගන්න තියෙනවා නම් ඔබට පුළුවන් මේ නම්බර්ස් වලට කෝල් එකක් දෙන්න. අපිට පුළුවන් ඔබට අවශ්‍ය සියලුම උපදෙස් ලබා දෙන්න. ඉතින් කතා කරමු අපි climate and weather ඔස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ. Australia is located in the southern hemisphere, so the seasons happen at the opposite time of year compared to the countries in the northern hemisphere. For example, when it's winter in India or in the UK, it is a summertime in Australia. There are 4 seasons in Australia, but it's generally warm year round. That said, the weather and climate still varies between states. Winters in some states are also known as the dry season from April to September, making summers the wet season, October to March. Temperatures tend to be slightly warmer in the north and slightly colder in the south. There are 4 seasons: summer, autumn, winter, and spring in Australia. Summer is from December to February, where the temperatures ranges from 18 degrees Celsius to 28 to 30 degrees Celsius. Autumn is March to May, where the temperatures ranges from 15 degrees Celsius to 24 degrees Celsius. Winter is June to August, which is the temperatures are 8 to 18 degrees Celsius, and spring is from September to November, and the temperature ranges from 10 degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius. Australian history. Australia has only been an independent country since 1901, but its rich cultural history dates back to long before Australian Federation. Right, so this is Australian history. It's very important that you know about this country's history, because then it's fascinating, isn't it? Okay, let's see. Pre-colonial Australia, before 1606, Australia's indigenous Aboriginal population settled in Australia, traveling from Southeast Asia between 50,000 and 65,000 years ago. The Aboriginal people created multiple communities across the country. Each community evolved into complex societies with their own traditions, forms of government, and art. Some of these Aboriginal music, artistic, and spiritual traditions are among the longest surviving traditions in the human history. The the Torres Strait Islanders arrived from Papua New Guinea in 2,500 years ago, settling in the Torres Strait Islands and Cape York Peninsula. They created communities and traditions different from Aboriginal Australians. 1770, James Cook arrives in Australia. James Cook charted the east coast of Australia for Great Britain, then returned to London, proposing British settlement in Botany Bay, the future location of Sydney. 1788, British ships arrive in Botany Bay. Britain established its first penal colony in Botany Bay, Australia. Britain maintained penal colonies in Australia until the late 1800s. More colonists followed and settled across Australia in the years following. British settlement impacted Indigenous ways of life across the country through introduced diseases, conflict, and dispossession of traditional lands. 1850s, the Australian Colonies Government Act. This landmark piece of legislation granted representatives constitutions to New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, and Tasmania. The colonies wrote forward-thinking constitutions which produced democratically progressive parliaments for the period. 1851, the Australian Gold Rush. Edward Hammond Hargraves discovered gold near Bathurst in New South Wales. The discovery marked the beginning of the Australian gold rush throughout the 1850s, which attracted immigrants from Europe, North America, and China. 1901, the Australian Federation is established. The Federation Constitution was proclaimed on January 1st, 1901, and the Australian colonies were unified as Commonwealth of Australia. 1957 to 1973, the Indigenous Civil Rights Movement, and then 1995, the Aboriginal Land Corporation is established. In 1999 to 2003, Australia leads multiple peacekeeping missions. 2010, Australia's first female Prime Minister. In 2017, same-sex marriage is legalized. And this is the history of Australia. The history of education in Australia is next what we are going to talk about, and that is very important as an international student. So stay tuned. The history of education in Australia begins long before the Australian Federation was established. Over 200 years ago, as the colonies grew in size and strength, the first schools were established in New South Wales where children of all ages were taught. After community schools expanded across the colonies, Australia adopted a more regimented school system. Private schools with religious denominations started cropping up the mid 1800s, and the first grammar and high profile private schools were established. By 1850, many Australian colonies introduced compulsory public education for Australian children. As Australia's population and economy continued to grow, there was a need for higher education in Australia so that young students could complete their education without traveling back to Europe or North America. Australia's first university, the University of Sydney, was established in 1850, followed by the University of Melbourne in 1853. Just two more universities were established in Australia before Federation, the University of Adelaide in 1874 and University of Tasmania in 1890. Soon after Australia became an independent nation, two more universities were established in the Australia as University of Queensland in 1909 and the University of Western Australia in 1911. All six of these universities were modeled after the British university system and adopted traditional educational practices from Britain. About 10,300 degree-pursuing students were enrolled across all six universities per the Second World War period. After the Second World War, the demand for higher education in Australia accelerated. The federal government accordingly recognized the value of education in relation to economic growth and increased higher education financing. The Australian National University was established in 1946 as a research-only institution, and higher education sector continued to grow. By 1975, 148,000 students were enrolled at 19 universities across Australia. Today, 44 universities and numerous public-funded colleges across Australia provide high-quality education across various fields of study. Australia's Group of 8 are all research intensive universities, which are often compared to the UK's Russell Group or the US Ivy League. Its members consistently rank within the world's top 100 universities. The group of 8 members are the University of Western Australia, University of Sydney, Monash University, University of Adelaide, Australian National University, University of Melbourne, University of New South Wales, Sydney, and University of Queensland. Australia's student body is one of the most diverse in the world. In 2022, 23% of all post-secondary students in Australia were international students. It is fascinating, isn't it? These facts are very important, and we are authorized to recruit international students to these universities. So any university that you want to apply, to study in Australia, then you can contact us. The numbers displayed in the screen. You can contact us. We are here to support all the way. Let's learn about the Australian economy. Australia is a highly developed country with a thriving mixed economy. Its strong service industries and natural resources have made Australia's economy incredibly resilient and stable. In 2024, Australia was the 13th largest national economy by GDP, valued at 1.9 trillion US dollars. It has the sixth freest economy in the world. Let's look at the Australia's industry and service sectors to better understand the economic stability of Australia. Mining. Australia's mining industry is foundational to Australia's economic strength. It has experienced many mining booms since the first gold rush in the 1850s. Australia has over 350 working mines and is among the world's leading producers for key mineral commodities, including iron ore, gold, uranium, diamonds, lead, black coal, rare earth elements, and aluminium ore. The mining sector contributed to 12.2% of Australia's GDP as of mid 2025. Australia on the world stage. Also known as the land down under, Australia is a remote yet highly developed country with distinct geography and culture that holds a unique place on the world stage. The country is rich in natural resources and has strong service, agricultural, and mining industries. Many Australians experience a high quality of life. Culturally, Australia is known globally for its vast outback, show-stopping national parks, lively beach culture, and outdoorsy lifestyle. With a population density of 3.35 people per square kilometer, Australia is one of the least densely populated countries in the world. Australia's exceptional way of life has made it popular destination for films and TV shows. Also, Australia has made a significant contribution to arts and culture all over the world through its music, literature, and arts. Australia is a member of several international organizations, including ASEAN Regional Forum, Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, the Group of 20, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the United Nations, the World Bank, the World Trade Organization. Right, so that was about Australia. So that's interesting, isn't it? Okay, so the summary about Australia is international students choose to study in Australia because of its outstanding higher education system, the generally high standards of living, and the vibrant, welcoming Australian lifestyle and culture. Australia is made up of 6 states and 2 territories. Each offers access to different lifestyles as well as educational opportunities. The Australian states are New South Wales, Queensland, South Australia, Tasmania, Victoria, and Western Australia. The Australian territories are the Northern Territory of the Australian Capital Territory. Australia's group of 8 universities are often compared to UK's Russell Group universities and consistently rank within the top 100 universities in the world. Right, so that was about Australia. You're with Asiri Pereira, asiripereira.com. හරි ඉතින් බොහොම ස්තුතියි මාත් එක්ක හැඳි සිටියාට දැන් පැය 3ක් විතර. ඉතින් අද අපි ගොඩක් දේවල් ඉගෙන ගත්තා. අපි කතා කරා UK ගැන, ඒ වගේම ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාව ගැන, ඒ වගේම UK යුනිවර්සිටි එකක් ගැනත් කතා කරා. ඒ යුනිවර්සිටි එකට ඇප්ලයි කරන්න ඕනේ කොහොමද? එතකොට අපි මොනවා වගේ සේවාවන්ද ඔබට ලබා දෙන්නේ කියලා හැම විස්තරයක්ම දැන් ඔබ දන්නවා. ඉතින් වැඩි විස්තර දැනගන්න පුළුවන් අපේ දුරකථන අංක වලට කතා කරොත් සහ අපිට හම්බ වෙන්න ඉන්න පුළුවන්. අපිට ඔෆිස් තියෙනවා. අපේ ආයතන පිහිටා දිනවා එංගලන්තයේ සහ ලංකාවේ. ඉතින් ගොඩාක් දරුවන්ට අපි දැනටමත් උසස් අධ්‍යාපන අවස්ථා ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම උසස් අධ්‍යාපනය පමණක් නෙමෙයි, ඒගොල්ලෝ ඒ රටවල් වලට ගියාට පස්සේ ඊට පස්සේ මොනවද කරන්නේ? ඊට පස්සේ රැකියා අවස්ථා වලට ලබා දෙන්න අපිට පුළුවන්කම තියෙනවා. මොකද ගොඩාක් බොහෝමයක් ඕගනයිසේෂන්ස්, එම්ප්ලොයර්ස්ලාත් එක්ක, ඒජන්සිත් එක්ක අපි වැඩ කරනවා. යුනිවර්සිටිස් එක්ක ඉතාම සුහදව වැඩ කරනවා. ඉතින් ඔබගේ සියලු අවශ්‍යතා ජීවිතයේ සපුරාලන්න කොහොමද අනාගතය ගොඩනගාගන්නේ? ඒ රැකියාවක් හොයාගන්නේ කොහොමද? CV එක හදාගන්නේ කොහොමද? ඉන්ටර්විව් එකට මුහුණ දෙන්නේ කොහොමද? හැම දෙයකටම උපදෙස් දෙන්න සහ වැඩක් කරන්න පුළුවන් ආයතනයක් ලෙස BML දැනටමත් ප්‍රචලිතයි. ඉතින් BML ශ්‍රී ලංකා කතා කරන්න 0777යි 798989 වගේම ඔබට පුළුවන් අපේ ආයතනය විසිට් කරන්න BML ශ්‍රී ලංකා අංක 163න් 4 නවනුවර පාර මාළඹේ. ඉතින් මම ආසිරි පෙරේරා. මම මේ ආයතනයේ ප්‍රධාන ලීඩ් විදිහට මම වැඩ කරනවා. ඉතින් මගේ ආයතන, මගේ කාර්ය මණ්ඩලය හැම දෙනාම ඉතින් ඉතාමත් උද්‍යෝගයෙන් සතුටින් වැඩ කරගෙන යනවා. මේ දවස්වල අපි සැප්තැම්බර් ඉන්ටේක් එකට රටවල් වලට ස්ටුඩන්ට්ස්ලා යොමු කරනවා. ඉතින් ඔබ ඕනෑම රටක අපි USA, කැනඩා, ඕස්ට්‍රේලියා, නිව්සීලන්ත, ඩුබායි, ඒ වගේම යුරෝපියන් රටවල් වලට දරුවෝ යවනවා. අධ්‍යාපන අවස්ථා සඳහා, සමහර රැකියා අවස්ථා සඳහා අපි යොමු කරනවා. ඉතින් ඔබට අවශ්‍ය සියලුම උසස් අධ්‍යාපනය, පිටරට අධ්‍යාපනය අවස්ථා සහ පිටරට රැකියා අවස්ථා, සමහර පිටරට රැකියා අවස්ථා කිහිපයක් අපි ළඟ තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඔබට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්, වැඩිදුර විස්තර දැනගන්න පුළුවන්. බය නැතුව එන්න, කතා කරන්න, ඕනෑම ප්‍රශ්නයකට උත්තරයක් දෙන්න, ඒ ගැන විස්තර දැනගන්න අපිට ඔබට උදව් කරන්න පුළුවන්. අපි කිසිදු මුදලක් අය කරන්නේ නැහැ අපේ සේවාවන් සඳහා. ඉතින් බය නැතුව කතා කරන්න, මැසේජ් එකක් දාන්න. ඔබ සහ ඔබ දන්න අඳුරන කෙනෙක් හරි නැත්නම් ඔබගේ දරුවාව හරි ඔබ පිටරට යන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා නම් කතා කරන්න අපිට පුළුවන් ඔබට උදව් කරන්න. ඉතින් බොහොම ස්තුතියි රැඳී සිටියාට. පැය 3ක් මාත් එක්ක සෝෂල් මීඩියා සමග මම හැමදාම එකතු වෙනවා. හැමදාම උදේට 10ට ඉංග්‍රීසි භාෂාවෙන් සහ සිංහල භාෂාවෙන් ඔබට අවශ්‍ය සියලුම තොරතුරු දැනගන්න මාත් එක්ක එකතු වෙන්න. ඉතින් අපිට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම අපිව විසිට් කරන්න පුළුවන්. බොහොම ආසාවෙන් සහ බොහොම හොඳින් වීසා එකක් ලබා දෙන්න ඔබට ඊටම වගකීමෙන් වැඩක් කරන්න පුළුවන් ආයතනයක් ලෙස BML ශ්‍රී ලංකා. අදටත් ගොඩක් අපි රටවල් 14ක ලංකාව විතරක් නෙමෙයි, රටවල් 14ක දරුවන්ට උසස් අධ්‍යාපන අවස්ථා ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා. ඉතින් කතා කරන්න, බය නැතුව එන්න, කෝල් එකක් දෙන්න. අපිට පුළුවන් ඔබට අවශ්‍ය සියලුම උපදෙස් නොමිලේ ලබා දෙන්න. ඉතින් බොහොම ස්තුතියි. හෙටත් හමු වෙමු. සුබ දවසක්.